Well, the warmest of greetings, everyone, wherever we find you on this fantastic Saturday as we gear up to start racing for the ICF's Ocean Racing World Champions 2025. The aerial shot you see is of the beach at DUC, the Durban Underwater Club, and in the background, the big tanker leaving Durban Harbour gives you evidence that we are right up alongside one of Africa's busiest ports. My name's Dave McLeod. It'll be my pleasure to take you through the next 2 days of surf ski action from Durban. I'm joined in commentary by an old paddling buddy. He is seated down at the HQ watching the action at the beach at DUC. Travis Wilkinson. Travis, you can feel the buzz, I'm pretty sure, mate, down there.
Dave, it is super exciting here in Durban. As you quite rightly mentioned, that's looking spectacular on the beach. The doubles are lined up. Boats are on the water. Anticipation is at fever pitch as the young athletes get ready to race this incredible mixed doubles world championships.
Thanks, Travis. Well, let's paint the scene just for a moment for those that are following it. Greetings, wherever you've just joined us in Australia, where Robert Day and the crew are all watching us. It's mid-afternoon. If you're watching us in North America, it's still the middle of Friday night, but there's a huge audience, and you can sense the anticipation from the athletes in the field. This event has been staged around 3 days of a weather window to take optimal advantage of the weather. And Travis, you need to unpack this. The weather has been changing, and we've got the wind changing overnight, and the course we're setting up right now is for the wind coming in from the northeast. Tell us a little bit more about the weather and how it's changed and how it looks right now, because you can see there is wind.
Yes, Dave. The northeast actually blew yesterday as well, so we've got a lot of ocean swell out there. We would have had a full hard day of northeast yesterday, which is going to be blowing the swell behind the paddlers, which is why they're leaving Durban. They're going out from DUC beach here, turning right as you see that ship going out. So fortunately that's leaving before the paddlers, because they're going to have to cross that harbour entrance. It's very bumpy even in front of us now at the moment. In front of the athletes, they're looking out into that northeast that blows into this corner and chops up the surf. But once they get out around, you see where the ship is at the moment, they'll be turning right and heading off, aiming south with the wind and swells behind them. It's going to be choppy, it's going to be bumpy, but with your surf skills in hand, it's going to be a fantastic race.
DUC is a very popular venue, not only for surf ski, but for boaters generally. And you see the athletes now gearing up for the start. It's a Le Mans start, which is good news. It's what you want to see. You want to see the athletes taking on the surf. And normally this corner up against the Durban Harbour wall, the piers you can see there represent a sheltered bit of water. There's a bit of reef immediately in the ocean as you head out beyond the little shore break. But when the northeast is pumping into the corner, you have got surf. And I know a lot of the international athletes have been quite anxious about the sort of surf they're going to get. But today and tomorrow, Travis, they are going to get surf. They're going to get surf on departure here at DUC. They turn right, they head south down to AMANZIMTOTI, 28 kilometers, and they are going to get surf for sure when they come in there.
Absolutely, Dave. They are very slightly protected here. Even in the northeast, you've got Vetchi's Reef, which is called Vetchi's Reef. You'll see on the screen that white water to the left of the screen. It's a failed attempt, the early failed attempt back in 1861. Captain James Vetch tried to calm the waters for the entering ships, and it dumped a good 36,000 pounds of rubble into the ocean, which has made a lovely reef for diving and for protecting this area. So the paddlers leaving the beach will get a few little waves onto them, but nothing that should hinder their progress as they dash out. But once they're coming in at Toti, it will be a different story. It's unprotected there. We expect there to be some interesting surf, and on the northeast it's definitely a little bit more mixed up than when the wind's coming from the other direction, what we call the southwesterly wind. So at Toti, the surf skills will be tested coming in, but going out here, they should manage it. The waves there will be little waves, little bumps, but nothing that should knock any of these talented athletes off their boats.
talented athletes galore. At the moment, we've got 112 S2s or double skis that are on the shore at the moment getting ready to take off. Let's have a look at where we're heading. This is where we are right now. We're in Durban. You can see the harbor right now, and our eventual destination is 28 kilometers down to the southeast at AMANZIMTOTI. Now, the great thing is that northeaster, which is blowing, lines up really well. And Travis, you can testify to this right now. We're going to be heading offshore and then hugging the coastline. This course sets up beautifully all the way down to Toti. And with the northeast blowing, as it has been blowing since yesterday, that swell should be pretty well established.
Absolutely, Dave. Once you've made that turn, the turn's going to be a little bit bumpy as you go around. As you saw from that map, the land sort of falls away. So when you line up, the wind is going to go directly down shore. There's going to be no real need to head out deep to try and find different swells or to try and find any different sort of route. If we had Oscar here with us, hopefully have him out tomorrow, he would have known exactly which route he would take, and he's the expert. But basically, for all of these guys, once they turn that corner, they can just point their nose straight downwind with the swells behind them, and it's going to take them along the coast straight into that AMANZIMTOTI beach. It's a perfectly set up, as you said, with this northeast wind. Once you get around that corner, it is behind you and it is pushing you all the way. It'll be a fantastic race with a lot of fun out there.
So 10 minutes away from the start, and you can see the first row of skis which are being ready to come under starters orders, and what a class field. Now, I'm going to do what my good buddy Ivan Lawler does and have a look at who's likely to be contenders here. Travis, I'm really looking forward to you throwing in your 5 cents, because I'm going to do what Ivan does and probably put the pox on somebody. But what a class field. If we zoom back to Madeira last year, that race was won by Chloe Bunnett and Victor Rodriguez. Now, they've split up this year. Chloe is paddling with Jorge Villa this year, and Victor Rodriguez is paddling with Miriam Vega. So Spain has had such a strong influence over the double ski. If you go back to Madeira last year, they had 6 of the first 9 skis across the line were from Spain. The great Walter Buzan is here as well, paddling with Judith Verges, and is definitely going to be a factor in there. But then let's not underestimate the fire and motivation of the locals, because it means so much to the South Africans to be hosting the event here this year. And they would love nothing better than to perform in front of their home fans. So people like Saskia Hocklear and Matt Fenn, who've done so well. Uli Hart, Saskia and Matt were, of course, on the podium in Madeira. Uli Hart and Georgia Singer, who raced so well in the under-23s and actually posted the quickest time in Madeira overall. And they would love to sort of step up to the plate here. Josh Fenn's in the boat with Jade Wilson. Jared Shrimpton's with Christy. Now, so much interest around people like Holly Smith and Heath Clark, who are in the under-23s. How are the under-23s going to figure? Are they going to do a repeat of what Uli Hart and Georgia Singer did in Madeira? That would be fascinating to see. Melanie van Niekerk, who's one of our seasoned surf ski pros, has got Skipper Skuman in the boat. And then, of course, Travis, give me your read on this. Andy Burkett and Nikki Burkett up from the border, which is a couple of 100 kilometers down the coast on the Eastern Cape. Andy won the Fish River Canoe Marathon last weekend. What are we going to get from Andy and Nikki Burkett? Are they in with a serious shout?
Dave, it's very interesting. I'm actually waiting to see who's going to be sitting in front of the boat. You know, Nikki is probably more skilled in the surf. She's comes from that life-saving background where Andy's been the world champ, obviously in flat water. He's won doozy multiple times. As you said, he's just won the Fish. So he's an incredible driver of a boat. But I'm wondering who's going to actually set up, who's going to wear the pants in the relationship as they take on the sea. We'll have to see how that goes. I spoke to Andy just before the race, as always, looking incredibly confident and at the same time relaxed with a big smile on his face and chatting to everyone. So that is going to be so lovely race to watch. And then Andy's paddling partner from the Fish, Hamish Lovemore, also an incredible athlete on the flat water and the rivers. He's pitched up and he's here with Jenna Nisbet. He was down on holiday with his family down in the Western Cape and got a call from Jenna just a day or so ago saying, come paddle. He jumped on a plane and arrived late last night, rushed into registration just before the 6 o'clock close off. So we've also got a little dark horse coming in with Hamish and Jenna, which are another 2 athletes to keep an eye on. So it is going to be very, very interesting. We've also got Bevan Manson and his wife Carol to keep the relationship-wise. They paddled very well and won the Pirates Umhlanga Pirates mixed doubles last week, so they're in good form as well. We've got some amazing athletes out here. It's going to be such an interesting race.
Okay, your ears to the ground. Help me with one rumor here. Kira Bester, our under-23 world champion, there's a rumor that she was going to step into the boat, and if she was going to do it with Kenny Rice, but I know she wants to keep her powder dry. What have you heard?
Dave, I've actually wanted to see who starts, because I chatted to Nikki Mocker. Her son Sam Mocker was entered and he was going to race in the juniors. She tells me he's not paddling. He's also keeping his powder dry for tomorrow. And she did mention that a number of the Western Cape youngsters are not going to be paddling today. So unfortunately, we haven't got in front of me a list of the final entrants of exactly who is going to start. We're going to have to muddle that out as we go along. But there may well be some of these names we mentioned who've decided to sit back and wait for tomorrow's race. This year for Worlds, it's a longer distance. I was talking to David Mocker, and he said, you know, the paddlers like your Corrie Hills and your Hank McGregors who've got experience on the longer marathons, your Molokais, it may play into their hands with these events going out over the 30-kilometer mark, as opposed to the previous ones, which have been just around the 20 to 24 kilometers. So that's interesting to note, and maybe why we're seeing a number of the top paddlers electing not to paddle today's 30Ks, knowing that they've got that long stage tomorrow and they're going to need to have their power right the way to the end.
When I looked through that initial entry, there were a bunch of really big names who'd entered in single skis as well, which is an option here. You can come and paddle. But when I looked at Mark Keeling, Nick Naughton, Kenny Rice, Hank McGregor, all entered in single skis with a bunch of other people. Whether they actually take to the water today or not remains to be seen. So the singles, I don't think, are going to sort of feature at the sharp end of the race. We might have to do a race within a race snapshot to see what's going on there. But a lot of people are deliberately and quite understandably prioritizing.
Yes, I've just got a message through
big
that
race tomorrow.
That's quite right, Dave. I've just got comms through that Uli and Georgia are not paddling, and I also believe Kira's not paddling. So, you know, having the doubles before the main race, the singles is always going to be seen as the main race, unfortunately, because this is such a good initiative from the ICF to have mixed doubles as the doubles race. Had it been flipped around and the singles were today and the doubles tomorrow, we probably would have seen all those athletes come back and give it a crack. But with the singles tomorrow, we are going to lose a lot of top athletes who are just keeping, as you said earlier, their powder dry for the long race tomorrow.
So we're 3 minutes away from the start. Travis, run us through the nuts and bolts of this for those that are not 100% familiar with what's going to happen. It's a Lamar Beach start. So the athletes are standing alongside their skis, paddles in hand, and they're going to have to grab those, run them into the water. A little bit of homework needed here. You need to know how far you can run, because it's definitely quicker to run it in and then get some momentum into that ski before you jump into it. And then pick your line and you're off.
Pick your line and go. Dave, I'm actually going to take credit for this. Sorry to have to claim something. I used the start at the Pirates Umhlanga Pirates last week, lined everyone up, put their boats down, as opposed to the water start where you stand next to your boat. That can get a little bit chaotic as the taller people drift out to sea and the shorter ones have to stay where they can stand and get onto their boat. So this is a very clean way of starting. Everyone lines up, everyone's in one place, you have control of it. For the athletes themselves, it is quite a difficult thing to get right, because you're nervous, you're bouncing around, you're keeping everything warm and trying to keep yourself flexible as you wait for that time. And then, as you say, the starters will possibly say to them, lift your boats and then hold in position. Then the siren or the whistle or whatever they're going to use down there on the beach will go off, and that signals these athletes to take off like crabs across the beach, sprinting into the ocean. And And then it gets quite tricky because the sand is never uniform. There are going to be little holes somewhere. People often trip and fall. You've got to get out to a depth where your back paddler has got enough water behind them to, once the back paddler gets in, if you're not far enough out, your rudder will get caught in the sand and you can damage your rudder. So it's very important to get into a depth where you're comfortable to get into your boat. And there's still enough water for that rudder, enough water for your paddle to get a good solid paddle stroke, and then you're off. So this start is going to be important. You want to be in the nice clean water. You want to be out in front. You don't want to be in the early stages of a race having to chase a pack. You don't want to waste that energy. You know, it's frenetic as it is. Your heartbeat's flying. And if you get a bad start, it really just adds so much more pressure and takes so much more energy out of you to have to catch that front bunch. So it'll be very, very important for the chaps, ladies and gentlemen who want to win this, who are going for the race, to be in that front group as they turn that corner. Because as soon as you get into that front group, you look around, you know who's there, the nerves start settling, the paddle stroke starts easing, and you can get your breath back. But this start is always going to be frenetic, and it's going to be fast because you're going from a full sprint into your boat and then a full paddle. So using your legs straight into your arms, it really does test all your limits.
And I got to say, Travis, we've seen starts on the beach of a lot of ski races in our time. This is one of the biggest lineups I've seen of skis, and these are double skis. Remember, they're even more cumbersome as our team starts clearing the beach site. That means they're under starters' orders. We're about to get things underway, and the action is about to begin. It's double ski day,
yes, this is
SS2 day at the ICF's Ocean Racing World Champs 2025. You can feel the nerves as they wind their way through the internet to wherever you're watching this right now.
So
By the way,
exciting. We see Colin Simpkins there on his phone. He's the race director, so he may just be giving a last little bit of information.
Some of the boats getting located out of the starting line.
A little bit of rearranging going on. There's Bridget Hartley, former Olympic medalist in her boat.
Bridget Hartley paddling with one of her Maritzburg College students, Jaden Janse van Rensburg. Bridget, our medalist from the London Olympics.
Yes, I saw that.
K1. She's coaching at Maritzburg College with great success and good things coming out of Maritzburg College.
That's right, Dave. There are some fantastic young paddlers coming out of there. Watch out for Keegan Voigt, one of their top paddlers tomorrow. Okay, we're under starters.
The Spanish boats all grouped together in the middle.
Still looks quite relaxed there, Dave. It doesn't look like they've been...
I wonder if there isn't... looking in the background to see if there isn't a vessel leaving the harbor, which might have necessitated a small delay in the start. And we've had this conversation before, vessels leaving the harbor and major surf ski races. We'll chat about that, particularly when Oscar is in the hot seat tomorrow, because Oscar did try to go toe-to-toe with that massive vessel leaving the harbor.
Definitely a question Oscar can answer for us there. Yes.
Confinanza
it could well be, Dave. We saw Colin Simpkins in one of the photos. He was on his phone.
It's been such a week in Durban. There's been so much tripping and training and fellowship between the paddling communities. They're representatives of over 30 nations in Durban to take part in this event. The build-up was fantastic with an opening ceremony and a day down at Ushaka Marine World, which is located right alongside DUC in the background here. It's been a really special week. I think people have thoroughly enjoyed the tripping, the training, the getting to know the coastline, and the hospitality. I mean, South Africans as a rule, and Durbanites and in particular, are famous for their hospitality. And we certainly hope that it's been a good week for the visitors that have been here. And I certainly see from the chat and on social media that they've thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. But this is what it's all about. We should be under starters orders. We're running a couple of minutes late. And have a look at that. There is a bit of a wave coming in there. There is a short, as you quite rightly pointed out, Travis, there is a long, shallow sandbank here, and it breaks on the shore break first. And then as you head out, there's a far more manageable backline wave. But I think we're in this field of what looks like half the double skis, and it could be 50 of them at least, because there's 112 double skis entered in this race. When they start together, it's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a sight. And there's the flotilla of craft that are going to be escorting this. Some of them are going to be carrying our crew to try and bring you visuals of what's going on in this race. I'm sure they are going to have to clear that area before they set this huge field of double skis off on their way. The forecast on our screens, it's going to be overcast.
Yeah, it's definitely looking, when we looked out to sea, Dave, it was a lot more choppy looking out than looking at the view we've got at the moment from the top. There's going to be some little waves, there's some challenges onto that sandbank. If you haven't got into your boat at the right time and got moving, one of those waves are going to play a part, and it'll be interesting to see if those sets unseat a few of the paddlers, especially those that are not used to this beach. In talking earlier about the camaraderie, Dave, it's been amazing in Durban this week. You know, from the Pirates, I'm Stronger Pirates last weekend, when they had a lot of internationals paddling with us. The internationals were just everywhere. They were loving it, and they've just been so much on the go here. What struck me is that no matter where you are in the world, the surf ski paddlers and paddlers in general, they just have something so in common with each other that everyone just gets on. It's been an amazing event, and it really has been so wonderful to welcome all these people to Durban.
Well, Travis, we were right. There is a ship coming into the harbor. How's that for timing? I actually thought I was dropping an inappropriate joke, but we're right. There is a ship coming into the harbor, and that's the reason for the delayed start. So we can circle back to our story of the early days of surf ski paddling, because surf ski has exploded around the world. The fact that there are over 30 nations represented here is testimony to that. But in the early days, and I'm going back to the 2009 period, where surf ski was largely big in Australia and South Africa and New Zealand to a degree. And the first of those international events was staged. There was an event staged which went from Toti and finished here at DUC. And maybe you can recount the story a little bit better than I can, Travis, but at front and center, since he hasn't got the opportunity to defend himself in the commentary seat right now, Oscar Chalupsky went toe-to-toe with the ship coming into or out of the harbor, and that caused all unprecedented problems for the officials to try and adjudicate.
Yes. Dave, that one will stay in my memory. We were on the beach at Toti, and the wind just picked up and kept picking up and getting stronger and stronger. It was in the days when life jackets weren't even compulsory, and the announcers were saying, it's a very good idea to have a life jacket. And then they were saying, if you've got one, please go get it. And they were eventually pleading with anyone to get life jackets on. We took off out of Toti. It was a huge wind behind us. It was a fantastic, exciting paddle. But we lost a number of paddlers. Well, didn't lose them, fortunately. The rescue boats were there, but a lot of paddlers lost their boats, had to be rescued, had to be pulled up. And what we had then, we had a boat at the end of the harbor, because when the ships go out, and I think it's actually one that's going out here, not coming in, I've been told, let's see who's got it right, me or you, and who got the right information. But when the ships come in or out of the harbor, they cannot stop, they cannot delay. They are going at full speed, so that the waves and the wind don't push them off course and knock them into the rocks. So when those boats are committed to coming in or out of the harbor, there's no way you can delay them or stop them. So what was supposed to happen, or what we were understood to happen in that first race, was if you were signaled to stop, you would have to stop and wait, and they would take your time, and then you would come around the corner after the boat. Hank's version, he got there first, was told to stop, he stopped and waited, and Oscar came whizzing down on a wave, went straight past him round the corner, and Hank took off after him, and Oscar won the race. Oscar's version is, no, there was no one telling him to stop. He was quite legitimately able to go through, and he had planned the route he was going to take to come round the corner, stick to the wall, and make it to the beach first. It was a controversial one. There were lots of challenges at the end of the day. It was awarded to Oscar. He took that award. Hank was second. And we'll mention this again tomorrow. This is the World Ski Champs is possibly the only big title Hank hasn't got in his mantelpiece. So it is that one must still burn, and at least he's got one in another opportunity tomorrow to claim that title he so desperately wants.
Well, before the athletes do get onto the water, just to give you a heads up, one of the great challenges about trying to bring you a live stream coverage of an event that spans 30 kilometers of wild African coastline is literally to try and get visual. So we've got an A-team out there. You've seen our drones in the sky. We're going to do our level best to bring you that drone's eye view of the action that's going on, which just gives you such a terrific perspective. And there it is in the background. The tanker which is leaving the harbor, which has delayed the start here. Literally, you're not going to pick a fight with that. Whatever that tanker wants, that tanker gets. So let's let it steam on its way, and we can allow them to chug through that harbor mouth, and then hopefully the athletes can get underway. Right turn when they get to the harbor breakwater, and then it's course set for Toti. Good morning to Michael Aquilina, who is sending best wishes to Team Malta. Saw them down at the opening ceremony. So it looks like they're having a great time in Durban. So, Michael, good morning to you. And to everybody watching on the stream. Travis and I are essentially anchoring your commentary today, and we'll be glad to pass on your good wishes to your team, to any comments. And if you have any questions you'd like to throw to us, just drop them into the comment section of the stream here, and we'll do our level best to get to those. Travis, the other point that's worth making right now is I cannot remember seeing such a big field of double skis lining up for a major event, and kudos has got to go to the manufacturers of these skis. Nobody's brought a double ski, everybody's hired a ski, and they have really pulled a rabbit out of the hat to get so many skis to Durban to enable this size field to get onto the beach.
You're quite right, Dave. This is an incredible thing to see so many boats on the bank and racing. And when you think that there are people who aren't racing, it would be even more. So it's amazing to see. One thing Durban has done with the manufacturers and even with the locals themselves, there's been the ability to hire skis from the manufacturers. So your top guys looking for your racing skis and other skis have been hiring directly from manufacturers, but they couldn't meet the needs of all the paddlers that were coming. So the local clubs were also putting out requests for anyone who wanted to lend or hire skis for the international paddlers. So there's been a huge effort from all sides to make sure that anyone who needed a boat has got a boat and is able to paddle and is going to be able to enjoy it. So as you rightly said, look at those boats spread out across. The mixed doubles are lining up first. They're going to go. It's their race. They're going to go all first. But believe me, there's a lot of competition in those the boats behind. I know of a lot of the older paddlers who have got some fierce competition around, and the bets have been laid, and this is going to be interesting. They're going to give it everything to get out there and go. There's the ship. It's making its way through. This is a lovely picture. You see how bumpy it is. So with this northeast pushing into the corner, the waves are coming from the north, and they're pushing into the harbor. Then they rebound off that harbor wall. The two harbor walls you'll see, the north and the south one, breakwaters. That's going to be a very bumpy section when the paddlers start turning. So they're going to go out straight. It'll start hitting them on the side of their boat. Then they're going to make the turn to the right to go across that channel. It's quite a way out to get round there. It feels like about 1.5 km, 2 km by the time you've really managed to get your boat lined up for the downwind. The ship is now at the end of the north breakwater, south breakwater on its right. It should soon be out the way. It'll be storming through to keep itself nice and straight, going out the middle of the channel. And as soon as that is clear, we should be under starters orders, and the paddlers will be ready to go.
Travis, always interesting. You talked about the older paddlers and the masters age groups, and they are so competitive. In fact, the minute they start losing touch with the seniors, they start a race within a race in their masters age groups, and those can get ferociously competitive, arguably more so than at the front of the race. But what does kind of put them into their place is the new rule that the age category is being decided by the combined age of all the athletes in the boat. And there was a little rider to that saying that the maximum permissible age is 160 plus. We're under starters orders. Here we go. The athletes are down at their skis.
They're lining up. They're under starters orders. They're picking up their boats. They've got their boats in hand and they're away.
World champs are underway.
Here we go. This is important.
Now let's have a look at
This is going to be
lines
important.
they're
We were
choosing.
talking earlier about getting into your boat, getting in clean, and making sure you get through that first wave. There we see them
That
go.
could be
They
Jen
see
and
that
Elizabeth
first
getting
wave
away
as it stands
quickly.
up on the sandbank. This will be, those guys are getting over. Other guys taking a bit of extra time to get in. And you can see the front paddlers are gone as the others negotiate the surf.
It's not a big wave on the shore break, but it can be gnarly. It tends to stand up just for a moment, and there's quite a bit of impetus that's going to land up on the nose of your boat. And if you're not familiar with it, it can be a little bit disarming. Regular paddlers will be completely used to that little shore foamy, and off they go. Some of the paddlers heading immediately out on the right-hand side alongside the breakwater. As you pointed out, Travis, that is the choppy water. There's a slapback that comes off the side there. This is still the mixed doubles. Some circumspect boats deciding that they're going
Dave,
to wait for clean water.
I would have taken that line on the right.
I've got to say that boat has only just got out of the harbour.
Yeah, I think that ship will keep moving. That ship will be long gone by the time it gets there.
There's that fantastic sight of this flotilla
Dave,
of double skis heading
the
up.
guys on the right, the guys going out along the harbour wall. Looks like the second batch has also started now behind Dave. There you go. That's the guys who got it wrong.
Already someone from the first batch with a little bit of admin, a little bit of
So
maintenance
Dave,
on their ski
from
before they get underway.
experience-wise,
there's a wave. It's going to stand up just in front of this group as they...
that's an unusual place for a wave, and it's actually knocked some people out of their boat.
It has. It's a cruel wave to stand up in the middle of nowhere. Normally it's a fairly predictable... Oh my goodness. Really is giving them a bit of a wake-up. Welcome to Africa.
So that was a classic case. I think it's an Australian on the back of that. Looked like they had their leash on before they got in the boat, and you don't put your leash on before you're in your boat. You need to get on, and then you get tangled up. That front paddler's now thrown her leash, got her leash off, and is going to re-enter the boat. That's quite tricky. These guys are even getting help to get out. This is they've got a long paddle if they're getting help to get out here.
It's going to be more of the same, particularly once you get out into the open ocean. That boat's going sideways. You want to try and keep that head into the shore break.
Yes, got to keep that nose pointing in, and if you just get over that little sandbank and push out a bit farther, this might just knock them off again.
Oh my goodness, it's going to be a long day for these two.
No, they haven't. Oh.
We talked about the fellowship and the camaraderie.
These
now.
guys
Come
are
on.
also still
Come
trying to
on,
get help.
you
They're
two.
even getting help to get out.
They're getting a fantastic amount of help to get that ski stable. You need a little bit of momentum to punch through these foamies. And there they go.
That's a K3, Dave.
S3s.
An S3.
It's one of the S3s, yep. One of those carbonology S3s which are suddenly becoming really popular at clubs all around the world. And there they go. They're going to be propping up the back of the field, I suspect, for most of the day, but it'll be an unforgettable couple of hours as they go past the harbour break wall, plan that right-hand turn, and then head downwind to Toti. That aerial shot, Travis, gives you a good perspective of what you're looking at. I mean, your fundamental shore swell is going to be directly on shore. That's what you come to expect. But the wind chop is blowing in from the northwest, so it does create a surface wave, which can make it quite technical, especially if the wind is gusting.
It can indeed, Dave. So the paddlers have got through, as we saw, we had that rogue wave coming right through the middle. That's very, very unusual at this beach for anyone to come through there. You could see it did cause a bit of hassle for the paddlers, but they got through. And now the ship's clear. We unfortunately not seeing exactly where the paddlers are, but they're already out there, and they'll be making their way across the harbour mouth and taking themselves into that. So that chop you were talking about is plays a part, because it's hitting you on the side of your boat, which is the most uncomfortable time to be paddling, especially when you're racing, to have that water hitting you from the side.
And remember, for a lot of the athletes, they would have hired a ski when they got here. So, and there's a good chance that it's not the ski that they train in or most familiar with. So it's a slightly unfamiliar boat underneath you. And when you're suddenly getting a bit of a bump coming in from your left with the swell, with the normal ground swell, and then the wind swell coming in from largely from your behind over your left shoulder, it could be a very, and here's the second bunch getting ready to go. Let's see how they get away.
Yeah, we've got one swimmer out there. That rescue boat is going to find a boat that's managed to get caught by that rogue wave as well. So that's sitting in the middle. These guys are all waiting to go off. They'll give them a bit. I think they're giving them 15 minutes between the batches, so that we can be sure that the first boat to hit Toti is in fact the mixed doubles, which we want to see them coming in first, seeing it's predominantly their race. On screen there is Colin Simpkins showing us how he's going to take off, and he's looking good. They're looking ready to go. Linton Hope and Bruce Venker next to them.
Has really been a great supporter of the
there's some
sport
incredible pedigree here. Yes, it's Colin. Sorry, I didn't. They're quite right, Dave. Sorry, I didn't mention that. I was battling to see who it was in the background. So Colin Wilson has put in a huge amount of money into this event, which is really, really good to keep surf ski going the way it should be.
To the point that there was an announcement.
I'm a bit concerned about these other mixed doubles that still haven't got off the beach.
Yeah, you're right. Surf skis evolved from the core of the surf life-saving community, and the one ethic that runs through every element of surf ski racing is safety. Safety will always be the paramount and overriding concern in the way that any race is organized and any decisions are taken. As much as we love those wild and extreme days when it compromises the safety of any individual in the field, then things have to be reorganized and reshaped accordingly. And surf ski, being fundamentally a life-saving sport, is really good and responsible about doing that.
You're quite right. As mentioned earlier, that first World Cup from Toti backwards, we didn't even have to wear life jackets. At that stage, the protocols of safety weren't in place as they are now. For these athletes, every single life jacket has been tested in a special dunking pool, as it were, with a weight to make sure they all pass specific requirements. Each boat will have a cell phone patch that's linked to SafeTracks, which is the NSRI, the safety boat linkage, so we'll know exactly where every paddler is. Safety is absolutely paramount, and all athletes are now taking it very, very seriously. You just cannot afford to take any chances out there. The ocean's wild, and it's amazing when you're in the sea. If people can go past you 20-30 meters away from you and you won't see them. So if you lose your boat or if you fall off, it's very, very difficult to find them. Even with the bright colors, even with the lumos and the paddles, it's still difficult to find paddlers out in the ocean, the big wide ocean. So safety is paramount. Keeping close to your boat. The paddlers will also have leashes which they can attach to your leg to the boat so that you are not separated from your boat, which means you've got something to hold on to, and also it means they'll be a lot easier to find. So yes, Dave, we really have ratcheted up the safety requirements in a reasonable way, so it isn't impinging on the athlete's ability to paddle, but it's certainly making the sport a lot safer.
Yeah, the fundamental is you start with self-rescue. You need to be able to contact somebody if you're in trouble, alert them that there's a problem. The SafeTracks in the waterproof phone pouch is fundamental, but it allows you to take responsibility for your problem if you then run into trouble.
Yes, absolutely. It's vital. And all these paddlers would have also passed a surf proficiency test. They would have had to have done other races. They'll have to know that they can handle these type of conditions. It's not that you can just arrive here if you've paddled a bit on flat water and then take on the ocean thinking you can handle it. You really do need to have experience in the ocean, because the ocean can change. Within half an hour the conditions could change, the wind could swing, the swells can move. So it's very important to have experience, to have knowledge, and to know what you're doing.
Travis, you took us back to the early days of that World Cup event that went north and finished here, and some of the athletes had never confronted conditions like this. It was big. It really stood up. And I remember the young contingent of French women who bravely took it on when they knew it was perhaps a little bit beyond their ability. And they had a fairly harrowing day. Now, here's a great shot. We can finally get a look at the field offshore. You'll see in the background is the Moses Mabhida Stadium, which is one of those architectural landmarks on the city of Durban. But from the boat, we can get a sense of just how choppy it is. That isn't an even running swell at all. So, and this is tiring, Travis. I mean, bouncing around like this the whole time, trying to maintain that momentum in your stroke rate is going to catch up with you for a while. You'll see it's a mix of that wind chop and that rolling swell. It's going to be a fun day on the water.
Yes, Dave, this is taxing. This is very, very tiring. You're going up and down. You've got to try and keep your rhythm, especially in a double, because you've got to work together. And the back paddler's got to keep exactly in time with the front paddler to make it as efficient as possible. We're under starters orders now. I see boats getting lifted for the next batch, and they're off. So this is the batch of all the non-mixed doubles. So these are male combinations of other. Let's see how they go.
This is far more genteel.
A lot calmer, Dave. You can see some of the paddlers just happily walking out to find a good place. Yes.
After you. Please, carry on. Looks
off you go.
Far more managed. There's a lot more experience in this batch. This is where all the masters.
DUC is home of the geriatskis.
Right.
Yes, the home of the geriatskis, Dave. The bunch of older paddlers who paddle religiously out of DUC on certain mornings in the week. It's a wonderful crowd, and probably the backbone of the organizing committee that got this race to the quality that it is, and the amazing effort they've put in the organization.
And off they go.
But here you see the conditions. This is showing you how wild it is on their way out.
Some of the boats still trying to get through that shore break, trying to keep it straight, but you can see that there's two or three little chop waves. You can also see the angle they're taking.
They're taking an angle slightly left. They're going out into the swell.
Another swimmer in the shore break.
Yeah, they're heading left, keeping their noses into the wind before they turn.
Travis, as you quite rightly pointed out, you work out very quickly if it's going to be a physically demanding, taxing paddle. And it is 28 Ks. It's going to be, for a quick paddler, it's going to be a 2-hour paddle. It might take longer for these guys. So there's another standing wave. Oh, well, it's flipped them. They just lost a little bit of their direction as they went into the wave. And there's another one. And that boat is standing up. Please stay in one piece.
Yeah.
I saw a social media picture of one of the Team GB athletes whose boat got broken in a training paddle. And they've let go of the boat. Let's hope the leashes are not working. The leashes are not attached. Right. Why don't we just restart this all the way from the beginning?
Yeah, no. Back to the beach. Start again.
Just Control-Alt-Delete that
This
first
is as
attempt.
wild as DUC can ever get, Dave. You will hardly ever see a day like this.
I was just puzzling the same thing, Travis. It's been a long time since I've seen... I mean, we've been so friendly and so hospitable, but DUC clearly didn't get the memo.
No,
There we
I
go.
mean, look at that. Those waves out. Where are you paddling now? The guys are keeping slightly
another one.
left to make sure their noses are in the water. These guys have got to get that boat moving. The important thing is to get it moving.
And they're getting a third
They need
shore
the
break.
momentum. They
They've
can't
got
stop
it.
now. They've got to go. They've got to go.
Go, you good thing. Go, you good thing.
They should be through. They should be. No, no, not yet. Not yet. Oh.
It's a baptism of fire for this crew.
Well, they are.
And they're off.
Come on, come on. There's probably another little one waiting for them in that mid-break, which is unusual for DUC. Still a couple of boats on the beach. Still haven't got off.
The event organizers have created the opportunity for anybody that wants to race a single as part of the S2 day or the Saturday's racing. They're welcome to do it, but just like you've seen with the time lapse between the first batch and the second batch, there'll be a deliberate effort to make sure that there's no overlap between those. So you'll see a couple of single skis sitting on the beach ready to go. They'll be called down to take part. It'll be almost an unofficial paddle for them, but an opportunity to get out and just enjoy the conditions. Oh. This is a crew that is clearly not used to dealing with these sort of conditions.
These two gents look like they might be giving up. Yeah.
I really hope they haven't come a long way.
They look a bit defeated there, Dave. Unfortunately, DUC has given them a...
Yeah, there's not a lot of intent or
Trying
purpose
to identify
in the body
them, not
language here.
seeing a number.
Sometimes it's just a moment. You
Looks
just
like
need to pull yourself towards yourself.
Calling it
take
a day,
deep breath.
unfortunately. I hope.
There we go. In the background, you can now see the Bluff, one of the big landmarks.
Okay, here we go.
Durban.
Here we go, Dave. Yes, is it? The Bluff in the background and the Millennium mast in the background.
Let's see if
The
we can
paddlers
get a
have now turned
glimpse
around
of
that corner. They've gone out a little bit deeper because there's a bay as you come around the first corner. And they'll start riding runs now. Look at that run, just picking up the boat and flying along there.
just dropping off the back of that run. So there's a sense from our graphics.
It looks like Matt Fenn and Saskia in that boat, Dave.
It does indeed.
I'm going to call that as Matt Fenn and Saskia Hockley. They are flying.
Matt Fenn, part of the Fenn family down in the Eastern Cape that produced the Fenn skis. Hugely successful athlete in his own right in his relatively young years as a big-time athlete, but a family so invested in the sport and just passionate. And they are flying in these conditions. This is not easy, but they are really putting space between themselves and the rest of the field early on. Just looking so comfortable in this chop.
You can see there how the nose went up the back of a swell, Dave. That's when you know there's big bumpy swells, because someone as skilled as Matt to have that when the boat almost comes to, feels like it's coming to a stop as you ride, a wave runs underneath you. Then he just settles himself down and then paddles down and off they go. Wait for the next one. You don't want to fight this. You don't want to fight into the waves if they're in front of you. Take your rest when you can, and then as that wave builds up behind you and your nose dips, you can just feel the nose of the boat going down. That's when you know the swell's coming. You put in a bit of power and off you go riding it. Yeah, they are looking exceptionally good. Saskia's keeping beautiful timing in the back, giving power when is needed, and the two of them are looking extremely fluid in that boat, which is good to see.
Saskia Hockley having tasted success at the top step of the podium as a surf ski paddler. She won the juniors in Lanzarote and at the Nello Summer Challenge in 2022. Yep.
Oh, we've got someone off their boat here.
This is so interesting. Somebody earlier, and this is one of the front athletes as well. Deep water remount. Not easy in this
I
sort
don't
of
think
chop.
so, Dave. It must be. Oh, it could be. It is. No, it is so important to practice your getting in and out of a boat, because the back paddler there, look, they're struggling to keep the boat upright. The front paddler's got to get in. This is something all paddlers should be doing. Very few do, but you've got to practice getting in and out of your boat in rough conditions, because it is, as you can see, extremely tricky. The front paddler's just fallen off again. They were on, they straddled the boat, fell off the other side, and are now going to have to remount. You don't have too many options to remount. We're fortunate in Durban because the water's so warm and it doesn't exhaust you. There they go. They're back in the boat. They did it the side saddle route, got it in and said, now they're on the go. But that took a lot of time, and it takes a huge amount of energy. It really just sucks it out of you. They still haven't got around the corner. You can see the bluff on the right-hand side. So they're out there in the middle where it's really, really bumpy and the waves are hitting them from the left-hand side. They need to go out a bit further, then turn the boat to the right. They'll be able to get that nose around, and the waves will come from behind them, which will be a lot easier. As we're seeing here, that's Matt and Saskia again. They're going past the old whaling station. The embarrassment of having whaling stations, can you believe? It was one of the biggest whaling stations in Africa in its day. Fortunately closed down and not used anymore, and has been for a long, long time.
But that is all class, just showing
it is
their
a landmark when
composure
you're
and their
leaving. So
skill
when
in
you're
these
going
conditions.
this direction on your right-hand side while you're paddling,
Another big bump coming up from
it's so
behind.
important to be smooth, to keep your energy and just to keep that boat moving.
Nose goes down, up onto a run.
Steve, if you haven't left yet, please take Ian with you.
Super grateful for the visuals coming off our tracking boat.
Funny.
Plan is always to get drones up in the sky, but we also choose days when the
Yeah,
wind is strong.
wonderful
So
visuals
flying a
there,
drone in
Dave.
the wind is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do.
Especially not over the ocean with your expensive drone flying in the air.
Roger that.
I am
But
quite
this is a
surprised at this stage, Dave, not to
masterclass
see
coming.
other paddlers around them. I would have expected to see one or two other boats closer to them. We're seeing on the other visual that they're a little bit further back, but these two have definitely taken it to all the others. Really laying down a marker. They know what they're doing, then they're going incredibly well.
It does make a good point, Travis, because these are conditions which Saskia is definitely used to here in Durban. Uli's comfortable in these sort of conditions, and they're showing it because they're composed. They're reading the water almost intuitively, which makes such a difference. A lot of the athletes that are not used to this kind of condition won't find it as comfortable. And I'm thinking of the Spanish athletes. They were so strong in Madeira, and the downwinds that they're enjoying in places like Lanzarote and wherever are fairly manageable. This is not. This is quite a tough. This is stroke by stroke, wave by wave, chop by chop course management. And your experience will make a huge amount of difference. And what we're seeing on the water here is two paddlers that are completely comfortable in these sort of conditions.
That's quite right. You're both very, very accomplished lifesavers as well. So they've both really grown up on the ocean. And where this is different to the other conditions you were explaining, Dave, is these are ocean swells. The ocean is moving in many different directions at the same time. So you've got the predominant northeast blowing, but there's so much chop and so many bumps around that you can't just go. You've got to be able to anticipate what's coming up and keep your boat fluid and smooth as it moves. In oceans where you don't have as much ocean swell, you get that little. We almost call it a wind chop, the wind behind you, and you're just running little runs across the top. So you're not having to worry about these big surging swells that are coming from the different directions. And that's what Matt and Saskia are doing so well. You can see them anticipating those waves from the side. They're allowing them to roll underneath them, and then they're catching the one behind. They're catching that one that they need to catch. It's going to give them the speed. It is very difficult if you don't understand these conditions, because then you're using a lot of energy to fight the ocean, and you're fighting against those swells instead of rolling with them. So it will be harder for those people who who haven't had much experience and haven't paddled like that in these conditions. But Matt and Saskia are giving us an exquisite masterclass on how it should be done.
And there's the bulk of the field.
Here we
the
go.
front
Here's
part
some
of the
other
field at
paddlers.
least.
These are coming around the can on their way out. You would have gone around this can before you turned right. So this is at the end of the harbour to make sure everyone's clear. And this will be the second batch, I would assume, that is still going around that, around the can. And there's the bluff on the outside. So it's taken them wide, lined them up, and now they will be able to turn and start the downwind leg.
For the paddlers that have checked out this course, Travis, I mean, it is ostensibly parallel to the coastline, but you can still make some serious tactical choices about going deeper, which does a couple of things. One, it might shelter you a bit more from the wave as it's nearing the coast. But the other thing which has to be taken into account is there are, like you need another layer to the story, but there are currents at play as you head down to Toti.
Great, Dave. I've actually got a guest that's come in. We got a special guest. The gentleman here, the head of the ICF, is ready. He's on his phone, so we're going to see if I can put him in on the mic. Unfortunately, he won't be able to hear you. Wait, I can maybe give him one of the other earpods to hear you. But let's bring him in, sir. Thank you very much. Take that one. Let's see if on the microphone, if you can just introduce yourself, then we can see if your mic's working.
Good morning. I'm Thomas, President of the International Canoe Federation.
Thank you, Thomas.
Great pleasure.
Welcome. Is everyone hearing? Can I get something from the studio to say we live there? Are we hearing?
Great
Dave,
pleasure
you
to have
hearing
Thomas
all coming through?
The president of the ICF. Thomas, can you hear me from your seat in the commentary box?
Yes. Thomas won't hear you, Dave. So we'll just have to relay it through. Unfortunately, I've got you on a separate little hearing effort. Thomas, welcome.
Great.
Thank you very much. How have you enjoyed Durban?
Wow, it's amazing. Durban, it's a beautiful city, and more beautiful was the start today in the morning. I'm a floodwater guy, and I was watching with big eyes how these guys could manage these big waves.
It has, as we were saying earlier with Dave, it's normally flat. DUC is normally the flattest place in Durban to get out, but not today. It was welcome international paddlers. Let's show you what we've got. But amazing to see them all leaving and getting out there.
But it was good, so all paddlers could show their excellent skills, and so they managed it finally, and I could see smiles on face of all paddlers, so it means they had fun.
Absolutely, it's going to be incredible. As you see here, the two South Africans seem to have gone out in front. We've got Saskia Hockley and Matt Fenn. And looking at it from that side, it is bumpy. There's lots of swells, but perfect conditions for a downwind paddle, for the ocean paddling.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm not an expert in ocean race, and I just said it looks so amazing. I will try it next year. Then I'm more familiar with all the special words you are using. But that looks as they have fun, and it's very smoothly. They can use the waves, and yeah.
Yeah, it is. You'll see there as the nose dips and the wave picks up behind them, it just takes them along. It's a fantastic feeling. Ocean racing has grown so much. You must be so happy with that from the ICF perspective of how this discipline is growing.
Definitely. Ocean racing is one of the fastest growing sport under ICF umbrella. Especially it's a very global sport. People on all our 5 continents are doing ocean race.
Fantastic. Can I ask you? Yeah. It's your other side. Well, that's really good news to know that you're going. What I'm just going to do, you might get Dave McLeod in your other ear now, so you can.
Okay.
Dave, you can come in. You've got Thomas in on. He's got a hearing in for you as well. So sorry for that, guys.
It's a real pleasure to have Thomas in the commentary
as you were saying,
and
fastest growing sport. That's fantastic.
So it's a little bit difficult to listen, but yeah. And We have a strong committee in place, and they are trying to push to develop ocean race around the world. So we are very happy that we could announce a couple of weeks ago that we will have at least 4, maybe 5 races on almost all the continents next year. Or we have races in World Cups in La Réunion, in Malaysia, in Brazil, in Europe, and in Tahiti as a rehearsal for World Championships 2027.
Well, that is fantastic news. That is really, really good news. It's so nice for these athletes to have these events to showcase their talent, to allow them to gather the sponsorship and the means to keep going. It's very hard for these athletes. It's not a highly paid sport. So having those events out there and being able to travel the world and showcase their talent is incredible.
Yeah, definitely. So I really impressed about all these athletes sacrifice time, money doing this beautiful sports. They have a privilege, and we as ICF want to help good as possible with funds to organize competitions that organizers can offer prize money, and we want to improve the quality of our competitions. And thanks to the TV, now
Yes.
it's standard that we can broadcast all this amazing footage on our YouTube channel. So we are getting better and better, and I hope athletes will benefit and the whole sport will benefit from.
It must do. I mean, the visuals we're getting here are fantastic. You really get a sense of what it is to paddle that, because it's so hard for someone who hasn't been out there and hasn't paddled in the deep ocean like this to really understand it is. A lot of people will be scared of it, but once you've mastered it and once you do it, it's such a wonderful, liberating and free feeling to paddle out there.
Yeah, but footage is so amazing. I'm sure that we can encourage now with
Yes,
this footage a
yes.
lot more people to start with ocean race, especially from canoe community. And I'm so happy about conditions here, and I think it's a right time to say thanks to all these guys who are helping this to make this competition
Good,
possible.
good.
All the volunteers, sponsors, Colin, and the South African Canoe Federation. It's a big family, and they are not simply doing a job. They are passionate for ocean race.
Absolutely. There's an incredible passion for it. And I mentioned earlier what I've found is just being able to mix with all the international paddlers. There's a shared passion. It's not only here. Everyone who paddles in the sea tends to have the same passion. We identify with each other so easily. It's just such a wonderful community. Paddling as a whole, not only surf ski, but surf ski, because you take on these wild challenges, there's definitely that certain type of person who enjoys it. And we really do link up and get on so well with each other.
Yeah, that's right. This is a feature of our whole canoe family. We are friends. We are helping each other. We are competitors. But here there are special relationships
Yes.
because conditions are tough, and maybe sometimes boats needs help, and you can feel the community and the unity of our community here. I think we have paddlers from more than 30 countries
Yes.
here, and they are all a big family, and that makes ocean race so special.
Absolutely, and it's with the growth, with the development, with more events like this where people have come out, and we've seen the international athletes out here for the whole week, and some are even going down to the Eastern Cape to do the Piet Marlin next weekend. They've learned so much. Every day we've seen paddlers going out, and the Durban community has been amazing. They've been offering lessons, they've been offering help, offering trips and guidance, and it's just such a wonderful, enthusiastic bunch of people, all trying for the betterment of everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Durban is one of the worldwide hotspots of ocean race, and I can recommend anyone who's watching this footage go to Durban, try ocean sport, and benefit from all the activities they are offering here with canoeing on the ocean.
Absolutely. I'll second that, and I'll welcome everyone to please come and join us. It'll be an honor to have anyone here. We're now seeing 2 batches out there. The front paddlers have still got quite a nice lead, but there's a group behind. It's a long race, 28 kilometers, so anything can happen. Are you going to the finish?
Now we are going to the finish, and we
Right.
heard expectation that it will take less than 2 hours
Yes.
until Frost will touch the finish line.
I think he should. Looking at the speed they're going at, they could do it in under 2 hours. Yes, they'll be averaging around 15, 16 kilometers quite easily in these conditions. So they'll be getting there. Coming in at AMANZIMTOTI, there's going to be surf. So again, it's a lot easier when it's taking you into the beach instead of knocking you out. But it's going to be an entertaining finish. The guys are going to have to keep their wits about them and make sure that they get to the beach safely. But it's going to be fun.
So I hope it will be fun. And now I have to say goodbye because we are a little bit under time pressure. And thanks for a great job. And thanks to athletes for doing a great job, and hope for exciting finish.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks for giving your time. And to the ICF as a whole for supporting ocean paddling. We really thank you, because it is something we are passionate about, and to see this growth, to see this development, and everything that your team and your committees are putting behind it, it's only going to get better and bigger. Thank you very much.
Finally, ICF love all his children. We have 10 different disciplines, and we are treating all the disciplines in the same way. But ocean race is a little bit special, because this is one of the canoe sports which can be done around the world in all 5 continents. Yes. That's why we are taking support of ocean race also in the future so serious.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time. Enjoy the finish.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
ICF
well, that was very, very special to have Thomas join us. And all the amazing ICF is planning and putting behind ocean paddling. Dave, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, one of the things I heard from the ICF during the week is a really, really exciting concept where they come up with a concept called the World Paddle Games, where surf ski paddling or ocean racing is going to be part of one of the 10 disciplines which are all going to be featured in one city at one time. So all the Olympic disciplines like sprint, slalom, kayak, cross, then you add in marathon, you add in wild water, you add in surf ski, you add in canoe polo, you add in freestyle, you add in dragon boat, you add in stand-up paddleboarding, all in one big paddling festival. And they're basically putting that concept out there and saying, hey, is there a city anywhere in the world that could do it, that wants to do it? Could be an absolutely mind-blowing couple of days.
That would be an amazing time to be there and to see all of that. What an incredible opportunity.
So the masterclass from Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley continues at the front of this race.
Yeah, I think that's it does. We're going towards Anstey's Beach on the bluff. It's an incredible surfing wave out there. A lovely community, diverse community of people, the good old bluff residents. And no, they haven't got to Anstey's yet. There's a little pier you see there. Normally when from DUC side you paddle out to that pier, it gives you about 12 k's. So they're about 10 k's from coming up to 10 k's from the start, I would say.
And paddling quickly, Travis. I mean, they're getting onto those runs where they can put the paddles down and still keep going at that high-speed lick. But when they're having to work to get back up onto the runs, the stroke rate and the ski speed rate is staying incredibly high as they pop up onto another run, surf it down, paddles down. The runs are really working for them.
Yeah. They are. There's a lot of speed out there, David. Incredible to see. Look, they're straight from one wave into the next. The paddles go down, and then they're looking for their exit. They're looking for the speed. Where can they take that energy of the ocean and move forward with it? Straight into it. The heads go down. You can see that little bit of extra effort as they rev it up for the next one, just to make sure that they're onto the air, catching and milking, as we call it, every single bit of energy out of the ocean to take them forward. They are moving very quickly, as we saw that pier just disappear behind them. It was in front of them, suddenly it's just gone.
This is where it's going to be fun to have Oscar Chalupski, who is flying back from Germany to join us in the singles race tomorrow. It's going to be heaps of fun to have one of the godfather figures of surf ski paddling in the studio, but he'll tell you about linking up runs. And it's a mixture of science and art to be able to read the ocean and to be able to see where the next big run is and to be able to sort of factor that into a plan so that you can link them seamlessly. It's art and science in one.
It is. A friend of mine always calls it the dark art of wave riding. He says it's a mystical form that some people have got and others haven't. And Oscar was definitely the wizard of all wizards for the dark arts of wave riding.
Maria asking us a question in the comments column. Please, can we have details of the chasing pack? In fact, maybe we have, through our tracking options available to our production team, maybe we could throw up a little leaderboard of who's who in the zoo. I think the enthusiastic Spanish followers that were looking at there were definitely some Spanish boats in that mix there, and Maria and I think her supporters, Gambito, is also asking any GPS tracking. There isn't a public access GPS tracking, but we do have tracking on some of these boats, and we can maybe use that to cobble together a plan to give you a sense of who is exactly in that chasing pack. Conditions are not conducive to really making identification of individuals that easy. You can see the chop, the waves, they're bobbing up and down in the surf. And even if they do have name patches, there's a bit of a sense of where the chasing pack is. Trav, you can read some of the details of that if it's good for you.
Okay, there we go. I'm trying to see. I have my glasses in here to get in there.
That's Walter Buthan and Judith Verges
who's
in the chasing bunch. Jorge Villa and Chloe Bunnett are behind them.
Okay, sorry, my screen's a bit blurred. I'm not picking up those names on that one.
So I'm picking up 2 and 4 as being the Spanish boats of Jorge Villa and Chloe Bunnett in 4th place at the moment. And Walter Buthan and Judith Verges looks like they are sitting in 2nd at the moment. See if we can put some details. There's 2 skis sitting in position 3 and 4 together. We've managed to sneak some tracking devices onto these skis. Very tightly bunched there, if
that's a 3 and 4.
So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Remember, Chloe won it last year with Victor Rodriguez. Chloe, born and raised in Neisner, a little while in the UK, and now a naturalized Spanish citizen, paddling with Jorge Villa now. Yeah. Walter Buthan with Judith Verges. And there's a sense of the different lines that are being taken as well. Some of the athletes definitely choosing to hug inshore. And there's a distinct group which is pushing out a little further out. And a little further out is where you'll find Matt Fenn and Saskia Hockley on screen at the moment. Remember, they were 3rd in the Madeira Island race, behind Chloe Bunnett and Victor Rodriguez and Walter Buthan and Judith Verges.
They should be coming up to paddle past what in the surfing world is a renowned beach called Cave Rock.
Cave
really
Rock,
big wave
yes.
surfers. Cave Rock itself, I'm told, is yes, that should be. And unfortunately, Dave, I don't know if you the urban legend goes it used to be very distinctive, Cave Rock, but they dynamited it and before around the early days of the Second World War because they didn't want it as such an identifying feature so close to the harbour. So although Cave Rock still retains its name, apparently the actual big cave in the rock was blown up, so boats wouldn't know that they were getting close to Durban harbour because that was a big military base within the harbour as a, you know, the rounding the point on the way down to the Cape. So huge respect for anyone who surfs at Cave Rock, and you can see by these swells moving into the beach the potential for the really big waves that Cave Rock is famous for.
Let's go and unpack the theory about the currents that are running here, because it's quite deceptive. There's a big swell running straight into the shore. The wind swell on the surface is blowing strongly over their left shoulders, but there are currents that move up and down, particularly when you start getting towards Animal Shoals side. There's a distinct current which is coming up into you. There's the Benguela current, which is fundamentally pushing down the coast. But there are places here where you can suddenly find yourself paddling your heart out, and if you look down at your GPS, your ski's just not going as quickly as you are on the water because you're going into a strong current, and that can make a huge difference in a race situation.
It can, Dave. I actually was interested watching the jet ski that came out to the paddlers. That might have been a jet ski that launched from the Cave Rock or the Anstey's Beach Lifesaving Club, because all the lifesaving clubs are on high alert and ready if we need them. But when the boat came up, the trail of the boat actually moved away. It moved sort of went north. The spray behind the boat moved north, and it was definitely pulling across. So you wonder if there isn't that current already having a slight effect on the top of the surf. I'm trying to look out for other splashes, because when you're paddling in the ocean, you've always got to be aware of those type of factors. You're looking for things that are going to indicate where things are moving. You're looking out for any debris and where that's floating and which direction it's going. You're looking for the white water and how it's moving to give you an idea of where you should be or shouldn't be. That was just something I picked up when the jet ski went, that it didn't look... It looked like there was almost a little bit of a current coming into the paddlers, and instead of assisting them. So, as you were saying, the swell may be running one way, but the current underneath that can be going the opposite direction, and that can play a huge role in the speeds you're traveling at and which line you should be taking.
Comment coming in from Ronan supporting all the French paddlers. Go Tom, go Hector, go France. Keep those messages of support coming in for your athletes. Let them know, and they'll be able to see it when they replay the stream that you were there cheering them on from the sidelines. They really do appreciate it. "45 minutes in, and the pace being set, and what an impressive pace is being set at the front by Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley. And most of all, Matt Finn sitting in the front of that boat, just so composed, reading the surf conditions perfectly, knowing when to put those paddles down to conserve, not afraid to look around and see if he can get a sense over his left shoulder or right shoulder about what's coming up behind him. And when they do get up onto a run, that boat has just got the momentum. It flies down the wave, and they can just... It's the thrill of surf ski paddling. When you get up onto that boat, you can feel the hull of that ski humming as it goes down the wave. For zero effort, you can literally sit with your paddles down, brace if needed, and surf for however many seconds.
They're doing it perfectly. And what's very, very important is not swamping the boat. So if you get it wrong, if you time your run wrong, and you come to a grinding halt as you go into the back of another wave, and the water all fills up your bucket, so that's the area you sit in. It feels like you're sitting in a bath, and that extra weight in a boat just takes so much energy to get out. They have scuttlers under the boat which drain the water, but if you if you go wrong and you manage to swamp your boat and fill up with water, it does get out. It's just in the area around where you're sitting and around your feet, but it's a huge extra effort that you don't need. So these top paddlers will be doing everything they can to keep it smooth, not make those fatal mistakes where you have the swamping.
Interesting, Travis, to see that not many of these boats are carrying wave deflectors on the front. And in these sort of conditions, a wave deflector can make a big difference in terms of keeping the seat area, your cockpit, dry.
That's true, Dave. We're not seeing them so often now in the double skis. The single skis, you tend to see a few more wave deflectors. With the double skis, not so much anymore. I think there's just the design and the shape with so much volume in the front that is able to get it through. And they're not burying the nose at all. These runs aren't short and sharp, so they're quite long big ocean waves rather than the short choppy waves. I think if it was short and choppy, that's when your nose tends to bury in the one in front because it's just so close together, and probably need a wave deflector more than in these conditions. But yes, they do make a big difference. You know, if to keep that water from landing in your lap and to keep that area dry, is just keep minimizing the weight, that extra weight you're having to carry. No one wants to take any extra weight with them.
Up they go on to another run. Just all composure and technique from this crew of Matt Fenn and Saskia Hockley. And they're flying down the coast, Travis. You can see from the landmarks there. One of the things
that the nose lift
that
there.
Is
they are.
One of the handy things about paddling down to Toti is that you can pick a deep line if you think it's tactically in your favor. But the last thing you want to do is overshoot the finish. But Toti, fortunately, has got a couple of really big skyscrapers, which are great landmarks no matter how far you go, so that there's very little risk of overshooting that finish.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it with the land, it almost lines up perfectly. Once you come around that corner and once you're following the runs on a northeast, it pretty much takes you straight into Toti if you've got it right. You also have very distinctive things. We'll be getting to the cutting soon, where there's a great big canal that was built to help with flooding on the industrial areas. So that gives you a nice landmark. Then you'll start seeing a few of the buildings for Athlone Park area, and then the distinctive Toti building. So yes, it's hard to miss. We've had athletes miss finishes before and go way past, and they cause a huge drama and concern for everyone. But today's stage should have no problems with that. Everyone will know exactly where they need to go.
I'll circle us back to that very first World Cup and the inexperienced French woman who got separated from their skis. And in those conditions, it was the south that was blowing, and she got plucked out of the sea, I think eventually by helicopter, and her ski landed up, I think, way up in the north coast, somewhere near Richards Bay. Am I right?
Yes, one boat came in at Zinkwazi, and it came in a few days later. That blew off pretty much where these guys are now, and it just went straight past Durban and all the way up the coast. So it's almost 100 kilometers journey on its own.
Big swells being
all right, so these guys are really eating up the kilometers. They have made so much ground already.
And we're 52 minutes in. They're past halfway when you get to the cutting.
And just look at that speed of the pedals. When they take out up for that little sprint that they're getting, and then they have the rest, they get the reward, as long as you're getting rewarded for your efforts. And that's one thing they're doing absolutely perfectly here. You'll see the speed of the pedals just pick up. That stroke rate increases. Now it's nice and smooth, keeping calm. And then you'll see the heads drop, slight little bump on the right rudder, speed goes up, and then off they go on another run. They went straight over one there. Very nice, powerful paddling.
Up onto another run, Saskia.
And what Matt's doing so well in the front is just guiding it to make sure that nose is never burying.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. You'll be watching the wave in front. If you can get your nose behind the wave in front, you know then the tail will be lifting up soon. Wonderful paddling. Great example. It's wonderful to see these two go at this rate.
And Matt Fenn, who's actually laying down the stroke rate and making all the critical decisions. Saskia picking up that increase in stroke rate straight away. Matt thought there was an opportunity to get onto a bump there. It didn't quite come good, but Saskia with pedals down. And now you see the pace go up. She upped the stroke rate. He wants to try and get onto this run. Saskia dovetailing beautifully. And Matt paddling above his years. He's just so schooled and so comfortable as they get up onto this run.
That's so important, that dovetailing, Dave. very, very smooth. It's so important for that back paddler to come in at the right time. So when I say come in, bring the power when it's needed, because the front guy's watching the swell. The front guy's thinking, I want to catch this. And the back paddler's got to be able to have the experience and knowledge of how the front paddler goes, just so that they can ensure that their strength and power comes at the same time. And Saskia's doing that perfectly. She's reading well. And you also don't want the back paddler to force you into a position that you don't want to be in. So it's very, very important. The back paddler is so important.
"55 minutes in, and the South African duo of Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley, third in Madeira last year, and in front of their home fans. Saskia is a Durban local and would love nothing more than to deliver a top draw result here. Matt Finn from the Eastern Cape, from the border. They've really got, and there's something, Travis, you touched on it a little bit earlier. The more time you spend in the boat together, the more you pick up this intuitive understanding, which is just gold. And no matter whether you're racing marathon or sprints, but this instinctive, preemptive ability to understand what the boat needs and what your partner is about to do before they even do it just makes you an almost impossible athlete to beat. And this is what we're seeing right now in tricky conditions. Masterful stuff from Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley.
It is. You can see there Saskia's having a goo now. She had a little bite of something, a little bit of energy. So she also knows she's at the hour mark. Time to refuel, get a goo inside. So she put her pedal down. You see her biting on the goo to get that energy in. And now she's straight back into matching Matt stroke for stroke. Should be coming up to the Merebank type of area before we get to the cutting. So quite a bit of history in that Merebank area, Dave. I don't know if you know that they had one of the largest concentration camps there during the Boer War. And they moved a whole lot of the women and children in those dreadful concentration camps that were up in the Transvaal area, and they housed them in the Merebank area. So not wonderful history, but certainly interesting as it goes.
Gee, Travis, you dovetail neatly as a tour guide as well.
Yeah, there you go, Dave.
Gambito, your point is very valid. We are limited by the comms on the cameras we're getting to. So our principal boat is following the front of the race, which is Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley. We'll do our level best to get a camera for the tracking and the second bunch as well. So thank you for your comments. Our crew is all over this. Thanks, Stefano. Your comments are also richly appreciated, and we're on top of it. Overcast and cool. Athletes taking every precaution against dehydration. Remember, some of them are going to be racing tomorrow as well. So that's a debate in itself. Matt and Saskia are going super hard today. And a lot of the athletes have elected to keep their powder dry for the single ski race tomorrow. These two, not so much.
Yeah, you can see the way they're paddling. They're certainly not holding anything back at the moment. They are going as hard as they can. And to think of a turnaround one day, but these athletes have done multi-day events. They're not... there's one thing about the South African paddlers, the Fish Rivers are 2-day or the Doozies are 3-day. So a lot of the time, the paddlers are more than comfortable to recover and come charging back the next day.
And they do it week after week. The major events, particularly at this time of year, tend to stack up. And there's been a very clever organization of the surf ski events. I mean, the Pirates of Mhlanga Pirates, which is, I think, credibly the world's oldest surf ski race. It was the original race that really put surf ski on the map back in the day when lifesavers had to build their own skis themselves. And then that's being followed up next weekend by a great festival of surf ski paddling called the Piet Marlin down in the Eastern Cape in the border region. So for anybody visiting this country for a 2-week surf ski bonanza holiday, this is certainly going to be an unrepeatable offer for them.
You're so right, David. It was amazing to see the international athletes at Pirates Umhlanga Pirates last week. It is the oldest registered surf ski race in the world. And Pirates, who's normally a beach that can be very, very tricky, welcomed the athletes with the most benign conditions ever. So it was a wonderful event last weekend. This weekend is incredible. And the Pete Marlin is really one of the events. If you're a surf ski paddler, you've got to get to the Pete Marlin. It's just the most friendly, wonderful community of people down there that organize the race. Brilliantly organized. And 2 days of surf ski spectacular paddling down the beautiful Eastern Cape there. It's really, really worth going to. And I hope we're going to have those international paddlers that have... I know there are a large number going down, which is fantastic, and I'll encourage any others to delay their trip home and head on down to the Eastern Cape for next weekend. Just keep going. You're having too much fun. You can't go home yet.
I think a lot of people would subscribe to that theory. The Spanish boats in the chasing bunch taking
holiday.
up positions 2, 3, and 4. Chloe Bennett and Jorge Villa, Walter Buthan and Judith Vergeth. We understand that Victor Rodriguez and Miriam Vega are also in that mix as well. Great sense from the back of the boat of just how big a swell is running from the northeast and driving these paddlers towards the finish at AMANZIMTOTI.
It was a very interesting view to be looking back like that, and it reinforces how difficult it is to see anyone because, you know, there were paddlers out there, we just couldn't spot them. But it gave such a good indication of how big those swells, because that person with that camera is standing on a boat and still those waves look big. So when you're sitting down in your ski, they're going to feel a whole lot bigger behind you. Here comes a big one and they're just about to take off on it. Okay, we're looking for the chasers here.
No sign of those chasers, but bear in mind that there is a boat that's a good 150 meters back.
There we go. We got someone in sight.
Bear in mind that this crew of
150
Finn and
meters sounds
Hockley
like a
have
long
gone
way,
on a
Dave,
deep
but
line.
in the ocean you could catch one big run.
There's a glimpse of paddle blades over the crest of a wave. Effectively impossible to ID those, but we do know that the chasers are still within contact, still going to keep that front crew of Matt, Finn, and Saskia Hockley honest.
And as with life-saving events, the sea can do so many tricks on you. You know, these guys are paddling incredibly well. Coming in at Toti, you can see they're coming up to the cutting now as the land drops away there, and that's what they call the cutting, the big canal that comes out. So that's pretty much your halfway point. Nice indication there. But as I was saying, the ocean, you can never ever rest in the ocean. So you've just got to keep chasing because anything can happen. A rogue wave just pops up and knocks someone off their boat. Coming in at the beach, you might get it slightly wrong and take a swim. So the race is never over until you've crossed that line in ocean paddling. In a flat water event, you can kind of think, well, I'll give up now because the person's so far ahead. But in ocean racing, there's always a chance. So your chasing group is going to be going as hard as they can because there's always that chance something can happen to the front group, sorry. And they'll be encouraged if they can at least keep them in sight. And then you catch 1 or 2 runs, start getting closer, and it just fuels your energy to keep that chase going.
Round about now, we're an hour and 5 minutes in, so they're going past the cutting. I'm sure they, like many of the other crews, will have sussed this course out and done their recce runs and maybe done a couple of attempted runs into the finish at Toti just to try and work out where the line is. because your line into the finish, given that Saskia and Matt have taken a relatively deep line compared to the other crews, is critical, because you've got to come in with a race line. You've got to have the swell still to your advantage. You need to be able to come in with intent and purpose so that you can manage the back line. And Toti's got that shore break as well. And your angles and lines that you need to have pre-thought, you need to just get into and commit, because that could end a race there after all the effort that you put into it.
Yeah. David, actually, it looks here like they're going in. I think there's a can that they have to go around, that they have to stay inside of, because they've definitely angled more inshore than they were to bring themselves in, possibly looking for that can to ensure that they get inside it and make sure that they are on track. The cans have been put in position just to keep the field a little bit more tightly packed. With open ocean racing, and so there we go, that's the can I was talking about. So they definitely had to come inshore a bit. They had to angle in and cut in to find that. Now they're going to have to track back to where they want to be. See, they're having a little look around them to see where people are. Now they've re-established their point. So they were deeper, as you were saying, and then they had to come in to find the buoy. They definitely changed their line, and you can see when they changed their line, they were actually catching very, very nice runs. So once they turn for the finish, those runs will be behind them, and they'll take a direct, almost like a 45-degree line straight into the finish. I did mention having that can there was to consolidate the field. You can't have this many paddlers out in the open ocean all heading off in their own different directions, because some would go 2Ks out, some will be near the beach, and that makes it very, very difficult for the rescue craft. So channeling everyone around a point like that, round that buoy at the halfway sort of mark, does keep everyone tighter together. And as we said, safety, 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 absolute paramount. We need to make sure all the athletes are safe and to make it as easy as possible. So they round the buoy. It will be interesting to see who else is getting there and when they're getting there, to know how close this race is. Here's one of our boat drivers. Thank you very much for your help, guys. Hello, these people out there on the water for us are volunteers giving up their time to help us and make sure the paddlers are safe.
Quite curious to see where the crew of Hamish Lovemore and Jen and Elizabeth are in this makeup as well.
Yeah, there are a number of boats out there, Dave, that we know are incredibly good and incredibly skilled and fit and hungry to win. And they must be around. They can't be too far off.
Matt Finn.
This crew's slightly
Putting down
there
the
they
hammer
go.
to try and get onto the next
They
wave.
weren't fighting that swell. Now that they let it run.
Nose of the boat goes down. That double ski very proudly bearing his family name on the front. The brand of ski which has managed to work its way into every conceivable corner of the surf ski paddling world.
An amazing success story. And Dave, you'll remember from the early fishes when Keith Fenn, Matt's dad, would bring a surf ski with a rudder on the top down to the fish, and these tiny little boys would be in the back. And year after year, he'd bring all his 3 sons and paddle the fish. And that was the first time we saw these youngsters entering the paddling world. And now we see them dominating on a world stage. It's incredible to see that development from Keith putting them in the back of a surf ski on the river, which was unheard of at the time. But he brought all his boys through that as a sort of baptism into the paddling world.
There's a first look of the finish at AMANZIMTOTI.
We've now got the finish on the screen.
Yep, it's gives you a sense of the shore break which is in play here. There's the back line as well. It's going to be heaps of fun, and it's quite a strong swell moving at pace. So it's going to be interesting for everybody to navigate, and there might just be an extra chapter to be added to this drama, which is playing itself out on this grey ocean here on the route down to AMANZIMTOTI.
We saw a lot of white water there at the finish, which means the waves are breaking, which means you've got to get it right, because you can be knocked off your ski very, very quickly in the Toti surf. You'll have a backline, a much bigger backline than we had at DUC when we left. You've got to negotiate past the backline. Then Toti generally has a flat sort of mid-break, a little bit of a soft area sometimes before you get the shore break, which is notoriously sneaky. It can come up and just catch you when you really the end is in sight, and suddenly the shore break comes up and knocks you out your boat. So all these athletes are going to have to be very, very sharp and at their absolute most focused to get through that shore break and get through Toti and up to the finish line.
Constant chatter between Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley, but it's confident, tactical chatter. They really are looking so dominant.
Saskia looks very, very relaxed in the back, full of focus, but very nice and relaxed. You see the shoulders are relaxed. When the paddlers are tense and the shoulders are sitting very stiff, that's when they're not feeling comfortable. Saskia is incredibly comfortable in the back of that boat, which means she has full confidence in her front paddler, and everything's going well in that boat. Definitely going very, very well.
Saskia, double junior champion at the Worlds. Magical moment for the Hockley family in Lanzarote, where Valjean, her youngest sister, was also on the podium as well. Saskia won, Valjean was 3 on that race.
Yeah, we got some other paddlers. This could be interesting because that's the cutting in the background, so that would have been that halfway. And here we've got a gathering of paddlers. Let's hopefully we're able to pick up who they are. Don't look like they... Okay, no, they're going hard.
Attitude mode.
All the paddlers have had to come in a bit to get around that buoy, and now they're working their way slightly out here, so not looking as comfortable because they're trying to get a deeper line again on their way into Toti.
It's one of those perennial debates, Travis. I mean, every time the buoy is put there, it's fundamentally a safety option. We talked about earlier that safety has got to be your overriding and paramount concern. But there are the other athletes that would love to just have the right and the opportunity to go out on a limb and pick a deep line and go deep the whole way. It's a tactical decision you've got to take. It's a slightly longer route, but often you get a different current and sometimes a following current, which can be distinctly in your favor. But putting those buoys in does negate those sort of options.
It will, and it would be interesting to chat to Oscar tomorrow about that, because Oscar, you know, he's the type of guy who would have a very distinct way and direction that he goes. I know his brother Herman, when leaving DUC going north, will always go very deep. He just heads straight out and just paddles, and then rides the deep ocean line. So challenging the athletes to say, you know, almost bringing all of them to a neutral position halfway through. Yeah, I suppose it is quite controversial like that, because someone will say, but if I'd stayed on my deep line, I would have been able to win, and you're favoring someone who's taken a different line. But at the end of the day, it's the same for everyone. So it is what it is, and I think safety is going to have to be the primary that's going to dominate the decision. But yes, you'll definitely get those athletes who would prefer just to have absolute freedom to do what they want.
And the same is going to apply tomorrow in the single ski race, because my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong here, Travis, is that there is going to be a buoy off on Clongo, which they're going to have to come in and go around.
Yes, Dave, there is a buoy tomorrow that's going to do exactly the same thing. So it is going to bring them all to one point. We've got the oil refineries in the background. I don't know if we'll see the single buoy connection that they have a buoy out in the bay where the oil tankers link up to, and they would pump the oil into the refineries. We no longer refine oil in Durban anymore. With the size of the tankers, the ready refined oil comes through. So that refinery at the moment is basically just for storage, and they also had a big explosion there a couple of years back, so part of it is no longer operating. But that is the oil refinery in the background behind those sand dunes.
Hour and 15 minutes into this double ski race, mixed doubles race for the world titles. Less than 7.5 Ks to go into the finish according to our tracker. And it's Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley looking to upgrade the bronze medal they got in Madeira with what will be a very popular start locally at the beginning of 2 days of surf ski carnival racing here in Durban, South Africa.
Dave, what you are also noticing is that from what I'm picking up off the water is the wind seems to have died off. There's no longer a white chop anywhere, no longer sort of any white horses around them. The swells are still moving, but I'm wondering if they're predicted, the wind was predicted to calm down, and we're not seeing much of a wind chop anymore. So it's still the swell riding, but it looks a lot calmer from a wind perspective, which may slow them down a bit. But as you see, they're still finding lovely runs too, because the ocean will keep moving. The ocean has been blown in this direction for 2 days. Those swells will keep going, but the wind seems to have died off a little bit, as was predicted.
Which is going to make tomorrow interesting, because the race decision has been based entirely on the forecast that the wind is going to back 180 degrees overnight, and that's probably the process that you're seeing start right now.
Yeah, I think there's even a west going to come through this afternoon, so any stragglers definitely don't want to be out there after 12 o'clock, because I think they might then get blown back to Durban. But I'm seeing, just from my perception on what I'm looking at on the water, there definitely seems to be less chop, and it's a smoother ocean swell that's dragging them along at the moment. Looking at that can off the cutting was only 400 meters offshore, so it's definitely brought everyone in a bit closer, and now the guys are working their way back out.
Big steep run, up they go. Boat speed will be picking up. It's always reassuring when you've got that GPS on your footrest to see that the numbers go whizzing up and into the 15, 16, 18 kilometers an hour.
There we go. Should we start coming up to get to should start getting Isipingo Beach on the coming up on their right. Lots of fishing going on down at Isipingo Beach, a very, very, very popular fishing venue. Some of our top beach anglers operate out of there.
Look over the right shoulder from Matt Finn. Doesn't see anybody on the inshore line, doesn't see anybody over his shoulder. But his message to Saskia is, we're not taking our foot off the pedal for a moment. They've probably got 40 minutes or so to go to the finish, 45 minutes.
You can see the movement of his head, how focused he is on this, Dave. He really is dialed in.
One of the great things about this paddle south of Durban, it can take you an hour and you're suddenly free of the landmarks of the city, and you've got that the dunescape on the coastline, which is quite unique to the KZN coastline. Great part of the paddle.
And it's amazing from a paddling perspective. You don't often take time to see where you are and to look around. I know when I'm paddling, and I'm sure Matt will be doing it, almost be looking to the left of his boat, front left of the nose. That's where the runs will be. That'll give him his best indication of where the next run's going to come from. So he'll look up and try and get a few landmarks just to know where he's in the right place. But essentially his focus will be just to the left of his nose, watching the nose pitch up and watching, because you're not able to tell if the waves are behind you. You can't look behind you. So you're reading what's in front of you. You're reading where the wave gap is. You're reading what the wave that's gone past you to know which, to anticipate what's coming behind you. So his focus will
Great
all
news
be on
is
the
we've
front left of
re-established
his boat.
comms with the boat following the chasing bunch.
Okay,
So
we've got
give you a
someone else here.
perspective of who's hunting them down.
There we go.
Getting some CCR rolling, which is pretty appropriate for the conditions the paddles are facing here.
Attitude mode. Attitude mode.
I'm taking a long distance gamble at Andy and Nikki there, Dave. I don't know if you agreeing with me, but from a long distance, I'm thinking it might be them, but I could be wrong. Might be one of the Spanish crew as well. Let's see what they're wearing, what they're doing. Back paddler getting some juice in. There we go. No, I think I was wrong.
No paddlers' names on these boats.
There's the wave
paddlers were given the
deflector you
names.
spoke about earlier, Dave. I was saying not too many
Yep.
people using it. The names here are for the singles.
They're all on the single skis.
If I think you can ask anyone who's watching and can identify their friends, please let us know who they are.
That'd be absolutely. There's a chorus of people looking to try and see who's in that chasing bunch. So maybe they can identify some of these athletes and make this a community reporting exercise. Gambito,
Yes.
tell me what you see.
These paddlers are also going really well, nice and smooth. They're taking their rests when they need them. As that nose goes down, they're getting their rests.
Attitude mode.
You can see in the background how the surf is crashing onto the shoreline
It's
there. giving you a
definitely not
sense of
Andy
just
and Nikki
what slow is
Burkett.
running.
It's, yeah. It's the fact that I'm not able to identify them, Dave, is leaning to think this is one of our international crews, and I apologize to the internationals watching who are probably getting frustrated and saying, we know who they are. If you do, please send a message through on the group.
Hector Eno, I
we
believe.
can't see any numbers or any names on that boat
France,
to identify them correctly.
Our community of watchers are telling us that it's Hector Heno.
Okay, and here's another boat as well. We've got another grouping. So if that's Hector there, who's Hector paddling with?
tracker tells us there's around 8.5 kilometers to go. Hour 24, and as you can see, the athletes are relatively close inshore.
Okay, we are getting confirmation that is that the French boat there, Dave. Very smooth paddling, lots of power in the boat. It's not as fast paddling stroke as we were seeing in the front boat, but a beautiful smooth style from these two athletes.
Very unflustered and composed, and very effective in these conditions.
Attitude mode. Attitude
Hector apparently paddling with Ty Del Rue.
Okay, that's back to our front two again. That's Matt and Saskia.
Remember the way these competitions are being structured. There's no senior class anymore. There's a single open class,
Attitude mode.
which means that
Attitude mode.
any boat under 18, under 23 is capable of getting an
Attitude mode.
overall podium position.
Attitude mode.
Madeira, Uli Hart and Georgia Singer were under 23s, and they clocked what turned out to
This
be
is
the
exciting
fastest
now,
time
Dave.
of
The
lot.
cameras have zoomed in.
Attitude mode. Attitude mode. Attitude mode. Attitude mode.
We're getting really up close and personal here with the paddlers. The boat's moved in.
Attitude mode. Attitude mode.
See, Saskia's still got the goo in her mouth.
Attitude mode. Attitude mode.
Matt Fenn and Saskia are definitely working very, very hard here. It's great to see.
Attitude mode. Attitude mode. Attitude mode. Attitude mode.
I'd love to get a look at their GPS to get a sense of the speed that boat is achieving at the moment,
Attitude
because
mode.
it is flying.
Attitude mode. Attitude mode. Attitude mode.
That is.
Attitude mode. Attitude mode. Attitude mode.
They're working a lot harder than the French boat. The intensity and the speed of the paddle stroke is certainly up compared to the French boat. But perhaps they've resigned themselves to waiting for a mistake instead of trying to chase them down. But definitely some wonderful paddling coming out across the board here with all these athletes.
Hector Heno, Ty Del Rue. Third at the Euro Challenge, behind Kira and Jade. And Travis, we circle back to our discussion earlier. Are we paddling tomorrow? Is there any point in actually burning all our matches in the closing stages of the double ski race? If you clearly are going to prioritize the single ski title and your bid for as good a result there as possible.
That's exactly what I was wondering, Dave. I mean, these two are committed to win, and I think once they've got that medal under their belt, they'll see what tomorrow brings. The athletes behind them may be in a different position to say, well, we're not going to win this one potentially, so let's conserve ourselves and see how it goes. So there may be that. It definitely would be something in my mind if I was racing this to say, yeah, that one's not going to work for me today. Let's save ourselves and try again tomorrow to get the top of the podium.
Largely as a result of having to come in and pass inside that safety buoy. They're on a relatively close line. Paddles down, waiting for the swell to pick up behind them. No intent to try and chase down that wave.
Yeah.
This is the third place
Got a
boat.
carbonology. This definitely also looks like another international team. That's got a name on it. It's got a name on it. Oh! The front paddler's got a name on it. Do we go? Let's see if we can get that name on the front of that boat. And the back. This boat's going very well. This is a carbonology. The front two boats have been the Fen brand of boats. Oh, there we go, Walter Bazan. Yes.
Walter Buthan and Judith Vegas.
Wonderful paddling here, Walter. Fantastic. They are going very well as well.
These two were second in Madeira last year. As the bump comes up behind them, super composed. Immediately they sense the nose goes down and that boat starts running. Walter's happy to put the paddles down.
Very.
Lost a little bit of momentum, but this is a choppy little, possibly because they're right next to the camera boat. But up onto the run they come. Walter and Judith.
Yeah,
milking
there we go. We need to keep the boat there. The boat's dropped back. They had a little bit of a bump in the nose. You see the nose go down.
Judith in great form at the moment.
That
Emma
boat
tells
is
us she won
moving
the
very
Madeira
smoothly in
Open
the
race 2
water. You
weeks
can
ago.
see them putting the power up now and onto the next run.
Spain producing some really great paddlers at the moment, particularly in surf ski, but it overlaps into marathon as well. And Walter Buthan is definitely one of those that's going to be one of the standout characters of this generation of Spanish paddlers. What you notice about Judith and Walter in the boat is that when they get up onto the run, the body position and the way that they manage their weight in the ski to get the optimal ride out of each run is just instinctive. It's great to watch. Sometimes it's the smallest shift of your torso can make a difference to how your ski actually jumps up and runs on each of those waves.
Absolutely.
I'm sounding like Oscar Chalupsky.
Absolutely, Dave. It's amazing how just shifting your weight in a boat can change the feel of the boat.
Spaniards looking super impressive in third. A lot of speed coming out of that boat.
I'm loving the speed of this boat. The way that nose is just
not flailing away with the paddles as well.
Yes.
The way they've set that boat up and the paddle length that they're using is just efficient in these conditions.
That's exactly right. This boat is going at its optimal. The nose is just tracking away. You can just see it as it dips down. The paddles go down. There's no point in adding extra, trying to waste any energy while the boats are on the waves doing all the work. So they're saving themselves, and when they need to put the power in, the power comes in, so they can catch the next one. There you go.
It can
Slow
be your
and
Achilles
smooth
heel,
from the
Travis.
front, picking his way along.
You hit the nail on the head there, Travis. It can be the Achilles heel of a double ski crew, because every time you sense that there's a wave coming up behind and you flail away and put in this Olympic sprint to try and get up onto the wave, you're exhausting yourself. Even though you get the privilege of a rest for 5 seconds while you're riding the wave afterwards, you've exhausted yourself and you've burnt critical matches in the process. That's a beautiful wave that they're up on.
Exactly.
Look at that.
Look at them now as that boat sort of dips down. Beautiful picture that. And then as they come off the back, they pick up the speed because the boat's got the energy that is carried from the wave. As that wave leaves them, they use the energy of the wave they've just had to keep that boat moving. and get yourself positioned for the next one. He's now chasing the one in front. It's a lovely angle. You can see that his nose was going to start dropping down, put the energy in, and off they go. Here they go again. What lovely runs these guys are enjoying out there in the ocean today.
This is the joy of downwind paddling, just exemplified by Judith and Walter. So as it stands
For
right
sure.
now, South
They
Africa,
are having fun.
France,
You know,
Spain.
it's unfortunate it's a race and there's so much at stake.
Well, there's a medal here.
As it
Take
should
that
be.
for what it's worth.
As we South Africans, we're happy to see our people out there in front, but it is a medal. It's incredibly important. But look at this international field, Dave. We know how good the South African athletes are in this field. And we've got these other internationals just coming through and also dominating and putting our front guys under pressure. It's so incredible to see the European athletes starting to make such an impact in surf ski racing.
Travis, I'm going to go with your observation that the wind has definitely dropped at this stage. What that might do is it might simplify the run into the finish at Toti. It might make it less technical, and certainly for the tired crews coming in and looking for a bit of a break between the backline and the shore break, it might simplify it and make it a bit simpler for them coming into the finish.
It should do. It should do, definitely. You know, with that, the wind does play a huge part in the randomness of the waves and knocking them in different directions, especially the northeast, because it's hitting the waves on the almost on the back of the head. They're sort of lifting up and they're getting pushed around. So if the wind dies off towards the finish, it will make the finish more predictable from the paddler's perspective. You're sitting in a boat, you're in a low position, you don't have that much view. So the predictability is everything, and being able to read the wave you want to take or the wave you want to follow into the beach makes such a difference. And without wind, I agree with you, it will be just a little bit easier. It's still going to be tricky, but it will make it a bit easier, and especially for the athletes coming later.
Matt Fenn and Saskia Hockley slicing through the water as they start homing in on Toti, which is now less than 5 k's away.
Yep, they'll be able to see it now. They'll be able to get their landmark. They'll know what they're aiming for. And now it's just a case of pulling it through. It's a difficult part of a race because 5K is still a long way to go, but you're starting to see the finish. You're starting to feel it. And now you've just got to be able to keep that energy level going, keep that power, and importantly, keep working together. Because if anything goes wrong in a combination, it can unhinge all your efforts that you've put into this part. But they're still looking extremely good.
Now, you might be tapping deep into your physical energy reserves, but there's an emotional high and an adrenaline surge at this stage. Here you have the world champs in your hometown, in your home country, which has never happened before for a country that has been one of the sort of absolute hubs of surf ski paddling globally. And here you are starting the competition off with a gold medal. That will just give you a surge of it. What that often does is it tends to sap your energy, and your ability to recover from it the next day is going to be another issue to talk about. But right now, this will probably carry them through the next 20 minutes into the beach finish in Toti.
I don't think they're going to even notice it, Dave. I think they are just so focused on this event. You look at the way they're paddling. The energy is still coming every time Matt drops his shoulder and puts the power in. Saskia is matching him stroke for stroke. It's perfect unison going on in this boat, and they are not going to slow down until that front of that surf ski grinds into the sand. They are going all the way.
Saskia Hockley, recognized by her KwaZulu-Natal Department of Sport and Recreation as an Athlete of the Year a couple of years back after one of her successful World Championship outings. And such an important thing in her mind to be able to get national level recognition for a sport like paddling and surf ski in particular, which is regarded worldwide, I think, as a bit of a Cinderella sport. So when athletes like this get recognized on a national level and the spotlight falls on you alongside athletes who are participants in mainstream sports, it's a big feather in everybody's cap. Got some word from the
It
course,
is
Travis.
indeed. I don't know if these angles are giving me an... yes, they're looking close. I think these guys are closing in a bit.
Dal Del Rio and Hector Hainaut are not far off the rudder of the leading South Africans. And I'm getting some word from Antje Hockley, who's down at the finish at Toti, just saying, guys, the West has now picked up here at the finish.
Okay, so it's actually even turned. I saw it was dropping, but the West to come through a bit earlier, that's probably not going to affect these athletes. But the ones at the back might have a little bit of a headwind as they come into the finish. So hopefully they're going to milk the most out of these runs they can before it turns on them. There we go. Interesting. A little bit of juice, a little bit of energy. Always important. Don't think because you're close to the finish you don't have to take that drink. Rather take that moment, get that juice in your mouth, get the goo in your mouth, because it's still 3, 4, 5 Ks, whatever distance they've got left. And rather be ready and all fueled up to make that last rush to the finish.
Swell's predominantly coming over the left shoulder at 60 degrees to them, and it's not the easiest one to get up and ride at this particular stage. Must just give a
no, it will make it
big
tricky.
hats off.
It will make it tricky, and you can see those.
So the leading boat of Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley.
I am very impressed with how this boat is going, Dave.
The French combo sitting in second at the moment. Hector Hainaut and Ty Delroux. Walter Boutin and Judith Vegas are in third at the moment. So South Africa, France, Spain.
This is such a relaxed crew. The way they're paddling is really, really impressing me.
Hainaut seems to have such long arms, and it just creates such an efficient stroke. Onto the wave they go. No noticeable drop in the boat speed. And you just get
Look
those
at that
2
speed.
or 3
That is
seconds
flying
of
along.
respite. That is
And
motoring.
as they
Joe.
come off the top, they harness that speed and off they go again. Very, very. And as you're saying, that long stroke is deceptive because it's long and smooth, but that boat is moving. Look at the
So
chop
this is
on
the
top of
second
the
place
ocean,
boat.
Dave. It'll link in with what was reported from Antje Hockley.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely
This
a
is back
different
to the
change in the wind. You can see it across the face of the ocean.
Yep, you're spot on. Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley in their Finn,
Yeah,
they're
we
back
got
up
the
front.
leaders again.
What I cannot tell you from the, and I must just give a quick nod to the boat crews because it's difficult in these conditions to get these shots, not just to get them, but to relay them by link back to land and to ultimately get them here. I know in a perfect world we would have 20 boats with signal relaying it back. It is extraordinarily difficult, and the guys are doing a great job. So respect, guys, I appreciate that. Don't have a sense of just the gap between Saskia Hockley and Matt Finn and the French crew.
Yeah.
Just to know if there is a bit of leeway coming into that finish where if they do get into the back line and have to circumspectly pick the wave or pick the gap between the sets to try and come in, whether they've got that luxury or whether they're being hounded by the French from behind.
I think they're going to have to be cautious, but at the same time, they can't waste any time going in. They've got the luxury of possibly being able to choose to miss one wave and get in on the next, but they definitely cannot loiter around at the finish and think this is all taken care of. They've done so much good hard work up to this point, that the worst thing they could do would be to slack off near the finish. It's going to be always a challenge, but both of these two having so much experience and really being brought up in the ocean, being brought up with life-saving, with the life-saving skis, with life-saving events. Those ins and outs on the beach is almost second nature to them. So I don't even think that Saskia and Matt will have any concern for coming in at the beach. They'll know exactly what they're doing, and I don't expect them to make any mistakes going through.
The paddler I used to admire so much coming into beach finishes was Matt Bowman, where he would just pick a line at about 60 degrees, and irrespective of the set and where the wave was, he would just pick a line, red line it, and just come in like a Scud missile and just find a spot between the waves and have the sheer power and the self-confidence just to motor between the sets and somehow get to the beach in one piece.
Well, that's the art, that's the skill, Dave. These athletes will almost be reading this back line, still a bit far out now if we are accurate on that, but within the last kilometer coming up to the beach, the paddlers will already be looking at the white water. They'll be judging, counting the sets, when are the big sets coming, where they're breaking, so that they know to position their boat exactly in the right position out of the breaking point. So you don't want to be where the waves are breaking, but you want to be coming in at speed and hopefully coming in behind a set if possible. And that's that degree that Matt Bowman is still so incredibly good at. But once you choose your line, once you've got it, then you've just got to go. The best thing you can do is go as hard as you can. There's a view now of the surf, and you can see there's levels of different waves. So you know, there's no safe spot. Once you come in, the big thing here and the best thing for these athletes will be that wave at the back that's breaking. If you can get behind a big wave like that, so you're not trying to catch a wave, you're almost trying to get behind it and then paddle as fast and as hard as you can, keeping that wave just in front of you, because that means that the wave behind you is not going to catch you. So if you can chase it through, then it's going into a middle break. You can see where the rubber duck is.
Yep.
That's the sort of mid-break area where there's nothing breaking and it's a little bit of a lull. And then you come into that shore break, which is crunching onto the sand. So you've got two very big obstacles: the back line, get a little bit of a reprieve in the middle, and then you get your shore break. You've got to get it all right.
That back line that we saw just for a moment was pretty tightly packed. There were 2 or 3 waves very close together, and then suddenly a lull, which means it's a complete luck of the draw. What are you going to get as you come into that setup? And as you said, Trav, you don't want to have to put your paddles down and start second guessing where you are and have you picked a big one, or you just need to go.
Yes, you do. And the one thing with Toti is that gap in the middle. If you've got through the back line and you're not lined up exactly with the shore break, you still have a bit of an option to, oh, is that the turn can for the finish?
That's the turn can.
You might be right at the finish here, Dave. We were thinking 2 and a bit Ks. But that's the turn can for the finish. We're right there. Okay, this is exciting. There's the turn can. They'll turn right around that can, and then it's through the surf for the finish. Saskia and Matt look like they've got a comfortable lead. Give them a little bit of grace to get through when they need and what they want to do.
And critically, there's no sign of that chasing French boat immediately behind them. So it does take that one layer of pressure off them. See how long our boat can stay with them as they head towards the back line.
The turn can has been placed very, very well. I'm impressed to see where the turn can in, because it's not turning and then going straight to the beach. You've gone around that turn can and you've still got a 45 into the beach, so you can still ride the runs into the beach, which is perfect position for that can. Whoever put it there, well done. It's exactly what the athletes want. They're now lined up straight for the finish in front of them. Now it's just the back line. Where are those waves? Here comes something.
Sliding
off
the back of that
because
big
it's still
wave.
not breaking yet, and then get themselves lined up for the finish. Yeah, this is what you want to see. You want to see a big set coming in while you're still far enough and deep enough out, and you're hoping that it doesn't have any friends with it. So let the big set go in front of you. Here's the second boat.
This is the chasing French boat.
The French
Del
crew,
Rio
they're
and
not far
Hemel.
off. The French crew are definitely not far
They're right at the
behind.
turn can as well.
Anything
There's
goes
no
wrong
room
in
for
the
error
front
here.
boat, they are on their heels. Here we go.
Good lordy lord, look at
And
that
this is
set.
it. Now we're coming up towards the back line. Where's the wave? There's a big one off to the left. They should be behind that.
There they are. They're behind that set.
Can't
Which is,
even
there is
see
a
them.
bit
The
of a
waves are
lull
so
here.
big. Oh, they're riding a wave at the back. This is a
They've picked
brave
one.
move. He'll pull off across. Wonderful surf technique. There he goes. Pulls off. Now they've got to put their head down and go because there's one behind it. Sorry.
Saskia's mom is standing on the beach as well. Anxiously,
Sorry,
there
I
they
didn't
are.
see him there. Thank you. That's someone in our
They're going
shot.
to try and get up on this wave. They've got
All right, there we
the
go.
wave actually
Oh, there's a big foam behind them. It's always tricky with foam, but the foam is
dropped off the
down.
back. They're between two waves at the moment. And they're heading into that
Now
crunching
they're in that
mid-break.
mid-break.
Now they need to go. They're getting up onto a wave. This could be critical. It'll either whiz them all the way into the finish. They've read it beautifully. Matt's taken it to the left.
They
Looks
luckily
over his
here, they're
shoulder,
just
nothing
in front of the
breaking.
little wave in front. Beautiful choice of waves.
Such
That was great.
composure
That
in
was
the
a nice
surf.
little wave they were riding in. You see the big one? Oh, they have handled this so well.
That is
Well done.
magnificent.
One other
Look at
nice
it, he's
little run
claiming
here.
it as they
They're
come to
basically
the
on the
beach.
beach. They've wrapped this up incredibly well. There we go. He's claiming it. He's claiming it, and he should. Very, very well pedaled, Matt and Saskia. Little jog up
Imagine
to the
emotion
finish
here.
line.
Third last year.
Lucky their legs
They're
haven't
going
gone
to
to
claim a
sleep.
gold at
Ah,
home
they
in front of their friends and family. The march of honor as they strut joyously up to the finish line. Look over their shoulders. There's no sign of the Frenchman. Matt is grinning like a Cheshire cat. And richly he should. Saskia gets the medal.
Absolutely world champions for 2025 in the surf ski mixed, and they deserve it. They're from the start to finish. But I think we can see the other one behind them. The other crew is coming in, or is that
Now
just
let's
the
see how
rubber
the
duck
Frenchmen
still?
do in the surf. Mhlanga Rock celebrating with Saskia Hockley and Matt Fenn.
Yes.
And there in the background, you can see the French boat coming in through the surf. Bon chance. Let's hope the surf is kind to them.
No.
And they come. They've done this beautifully as well. Speed and power. Matt Bowman. will be
Yeah, they
proud
go.
of this.
Oh, coming through.
No wave threatening them, and they're going to run this up to the finish.
Very well schooled.
Silver
That is an
medal.
incredible entry. Well done to the French crew. Off they go.
And
In
no,
the silver
Del Rio-
medal, world silver medal, mixed category to the French boat.
Très bien. Well done. Something that's definitely a hallmark of the surf ski community is the sense of community and brotherhood. The third place boat is the
Look at
Spaniards,
that.
and I don't see
Congratulations
them
from all
coming into the
around. They're
background
very,
yet.
very pleased with what they've done there.
Hector's
Great joy
got time
and celebration
for,
there for the French and their supporters. Very, very well paddled.
especially for the French supporters that have been so vocal on the sidelines on our chat here. She's thrilled with that, and well, she should be.
There we go. Thomas
Right,
was
all
in
eyes
the
on the
background. He
back
got
line.
to the finish in time. Still got a big smile on his face
There
and
they
loving
come.
the event.
Here come the
Back out there.
Spaniards. Let's
Let's
see if
go
we
out
can
there
complete
and
the
see
podium
who's
without
coming
any
in.
drama.
Got the rubber duck still sitting in the middle break. Where's the Spaniards?
Walter Buthan, Judith Verges.
That's a lovely view. Dave, it's not as big as it could have been. Toti's been kind, but it's still tricky. Here we go, the boats are lining up. Here's another 2 boats out of the deep, but they'll be very close to getting to the can if I can judge it, hopefully off what's in the background.
Oh, and they're in. The Spaniards are in. The Spaniards are swimming. They've taken a swim at the back line.
Oh, we've
Travis.
got swimmers. We've got swimmers.
Walter Buthan and Judas
Yes.
Vegas have
They've still
been
got their
taken out in
boat.
the back
Importantly,
line.
they're hanging onto their boat.
Can they remount in the surf?
If they're holding onto their boat, it means, there we go, don't lose the boat, people. That's all you need. Hang on to the boat because you'll get into that middle section.
There's a
It
remount.
gets calm. It'll give you the opportunity to remount your boat and come in. There's no one behind them, so they don't need to rush.
They are doing they haven't got into the boat. Walter's been trying to get in, but he's slipped over the other side. Now they've got to hang on because
And the
there's a
boat is
growler
still
coming
pointing
in.
out. They've got to
Hold
turn
on
the
to
boat
that.
around. Turn the boat around.
They are right in the break zone at the moment. It's so tricky to try. Judith is in the back. Walter's holding onto the front of the boat. And where is the fourth place boat? Because this potentially is the
this
last
is when
spot on the
surf
podium that's being
experience is
decided
important.
right in front of us.
This could change things.
They've both
The hard
remounted,
thing for
but they're
them, Dave,
facing-
is they're pointing out, so they're going to have to paddle
they're facing out to sea.
and turn around. It's going to be tricky. Okay, we've got the drone footage now.
This will be a fantastic
Facing out to
recovery,
sea, that's
and-
going to
and
be
if
hard to turn that boat because it means you're going to have to go out and punch a wave or two. You don't want to be sideways when the foam comes.
They've raced so well, and I would
Oh,
dearly
they're gonna
love to
be
see them
lucky.
hang on to this bronze medal.
Bit of a freeze on the screens. Oh, they've managed to
boat.
turn the
There they're
boat.
going.
Okay, now they've got to go. Now they've got to sprint away from
They
that
have
foam.
turned, and there's a big set coming in
They're
behind
going,
them.
they're going.
They're going to get up onto a little bump, I think, to give them a bit of breathing space from the set behind them.
We've got one boat coming in on the wide.
Beautifully done. And there's a very benevolent non-breaking wave. They're going to drop off the back of that wisely.
They've got to watch
Now
out
they're
for
going to have
that
to put
wave.
the hammer down. They're going to have to put the hammer
Good.
down hard here to stay clear of this wave. And they're doing exactly that. Beautifully done.
Sprinting in for third place. Are they going to succeed?
Vamos, vamos. And there's two boats in the water. This is going to be a sprint to the finish, Travis.
Oh, two boats. Who is it?
The Spaniards are under
We
serious
don't know
pressure.
which one was. I think
I'm
it
wondering
might
if
be
the
the
other
Spanish on the
boat-
right who
they-
lost out. Yes, it's
and
another
I
Fen
think that
craft.
swim has washed them down. It's going to cost them a
It's
spot.
another Fen craft that managed to sneak in. That's Hamish Lovemore and Jenna coming across the line.
It's Jenna Nisbet and Hamish
A
Lovemore.
big
have
grin on his
snuck
face
in
so
to
they're
take
getting through that
advantage of
sneaky surf there. Well done, Hamish.
What drama.
Yes.
They were gifted that and they took full advantage of it.
It did indeed. Shame that Spanish boat did everything to go and they just didn't quite get through.
Hamish,
One swim
Jenna
was just
will be-
cost them the third place, the bottom step on the podium. Here comes the next boat.
this will make up the top five. Jenna Nisbet and Hamish, seasoned marathon paddlers and surf ski paddlers. Rudder being dragged all the way up to the finish line.
There we go. I'm not sure who that is, unfortunately. Sorry, yeah.
Need a close-up shot at the finish line.
They're going to start coming in thick and fast now.
It's another one of the Spanish crew.
Well paddled. That was another great win. So is that fifth place there?
That's five. Top five
Another
accounted for.
Spanish crew. Yeah, so that's number 5. So we've had South Africa, France, South Africa, Spain, Spain.
It might have been Victor Rodriguez and Miriam Vega.
Am I seeing one of the rubber ducks upside down in the water, or what's going on here on the right-hand side there?
Something is...
Yeah, we've got a safety boat that's managed to get upside down. That shows how bad the surf is at Toti.
Getting a drone view of the carnage as well.
That's never nice to see. One of the safety boats
No,
is
it's
upside
not.
down. Yes. You can see all the equipment spread out across the ocean. Swimmers are running for it.
So
we've
this
got-
is 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, here we
in
go.
shot. And we have another
Three
swimmer at the
boats
back
coming
line. Another swimmer on the right.
And a boat on its own. There's one without any paddlers. Yeah, oh, it's all happening. They need that rescue boat and it's upside down. Who's we got here?
That's going to be position 6.
Not working out here. They're another South African boat. They've come across very well.
The 23 world champion.
And 3 boats charging to the...
Is that Holly Smith in the back from Cape Town looking happy? Okay. Paddlers are coming in thick and fast from all across the ocean at the moment. I hope that boat that was out there on its own, I hope it's found its paddlers. Yeah, they're coming through. Well done, paddlers. Okay. There we go. Still a boat floating in the middle without its paddlers. There we go for some mixed doubles final placings there, as we said. They've given the 3rd place to the Spanish boat. Thought that Hamish and them had got in there. We'll just confirm on that and get back to you as soon as we can, but it looks like in terms of positions they are giving it to the Spanish boat.
Give it up for your 12th place finishers. Also from Team Spain. Amazing work. That's Diana Ortega and her partner. Francisco Quintana and Diana Ortega. Right, then next through, and ladies and gents, this could be your junior world champions. We have Riley Smith coming in with his partner. Huge congratulations, Riley Smith. These are your junior world champions, ladies. Ladies and gents, make some noise for your junior world champs in the mixed doubles.
So very tired but yet very, very happy athletes crossing the Euro Steel finish line. Thanks again, as always, to our sponsors. These events cannot be put in place without the generous support of the sponsors. And we, see there at the finish line. Really, thank you. Huge, huge thank you to all the sponsors, especially Shaw & Partners and Eurosteel. Lots of smiling faces. Unfortunately, we're not quite sure of the age groupings here because we're not working out who these paddlers are. Unfortunately, we haven't got, well, I certainly haven't got a list of who's even in there and who they are and who they've hit the beach. So we are seeing medalists across the age groups. And as we're seeing now, we're seeing a crew finally getting to the beach, walking their ski in. It's the best you can do at that stage. Just get to the beach and run on up.
can confirm that Riley Smith and Ellen Stratham have just crossed the line to win the junior category. And we got Team Spade running across the line in reverse.
This is lovely drone footage of the break here at AMANZIMTOTI. You can see right far out how those waves are breaking at the back line, and the skis, some are coming right across and finishing on the right of the finish. I suppose for there they would be seeing it on their left, and the others coming in at a more 45-degree angle. We've got another couple of swimmers there trying to get their boat. There they go. Their boat has been washed in. Barry Lewin coming in there. He was also having a bit of a swim, and he's extremely experienced. So surprised to see him getting knocked out his boat, which just shows how challenging it is out there. Oh, and there's one making it look absolutely easy. Kept their 45-degree angle, and as they've come sliding in, other chaps have to run across to even find their boat. Well done to those two. Celebrating from the juniors there. Look the youngsters, they may be the first juniors. Well done to you. Fantastic effort. Okay. Another pedaller's coming in. Oh, and someone running in from the left. They're going to have to run for the line. Who's going to get there? It's a foot race. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Just got their nose ahead. You can see to the left, the lifeguards have pulled a ski up, and the ski is waiting for the paddlers. That means the paddlers have been washed off somewhere in the break and are now having to make their way all the way to the shore. It's very difficult and frustrating when you've paddled so hard to get there. You lose your boat, you've got a paddle in your hand, you've got your life jacket, which is really good for safety, but it doesn't make it easy to swim or to catch a wave in. And the paddlers will be out there making their way into the shore. The lifeguards will be keeping an eye on them. There are a couple of people standing there. You can see them in the water. No boat around. So that's going to be frustrating for them, but they'll get there. Okay, now we're seeing probably the next batch to come through. Remember, the mixed doubles went off first. They had about a 15-minute lead. And that means that soon we'll start getting all the other batches coming through. The male doubles were together, or even the females. Or the females, I don't know if any females went in doubles. Still more mixed doubles coming through. Another runners. There we go. They're in position to pick up their boat. Not much rush to come across the line. I think that might be Bevan Manson and his wife Carol, who are jogging up comfortably.
Satisfaction of the job well done, I believe. No medals up for grabs. They are finishing and just savoring the moment, having, for many of them, completed what is going to be a really memorable, competitive, mass participation downwind.
Well, I think, Dave, Bevan also learnt his lesson at the Pirates Umhlanga Pirates. He took off with the boat across the beach, and his wife was chasing, trying to catch up to the back of the boat just to help him, and ended up tripping and grazed both her knees. So there were probably some stern words at home afterwards, and he was a lot more accommodating at the finish of this one, not running away with the boat. So Bevan definitely got put in his place and was told to wait nicely for his wife and not let her chase him across the beach. As we're seeing other people come in, again, getting it slightly wrong, but easy for them. They are close to the shore, so it's not going to have too much of an impact. Although if anyone is around them and getting in easily, they are going to be getting to the beach and running. Yep, there you go. That's what happens. The other guys will be running past you.
You mentioned Barry Lewin coming in a few moments ago. There are a couple of
It's
characters.
definitely the men's crews coming in through, although I think this is
Yep.
one more mixed crew coming. Well done, well paddled.
Barry Lewin coming in. There are a couple of characters that have been pivotal to the sport of surf ski growing. Barry's definitely one of them. Billy Harker, who's been so instrumental in hosting and just getting what he likes to call the geest, the spirit of this event going, is another. And from what started out as a privateer domestic surf ski club level weekly dice, the sport has grown and just become this global phenomenon, and they've all played their part, just like the equivalent has been done in Australia and New Zealand and elsewhere around the world. But certainly domestically, as we focus the spotlight on South Africa, we really do owe these sort of guys a big debt of gratitude.
Absolutely. Both Billy with his surf ski series right at the beginning and Barry who took it on. There's so many unsung heroes in it as well, the people that just turn up every time for the timekeeping and for the marshalling and everything else. It's amazing how many people do a lot of hard work in the background, never wanting to get the limelight. There are a few of us who are quite happy to get up there and make a noise and grab hold of the loudhailer, but you really owe a tribute. And in today's race, you just saw how many people were involved in the background, and massive thank you to everyone involved in this event. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's going to be next. Yeah.
Your second men's combination. Running through hard. Congratulations, guys.
We've still got lots of swimmers out there, turning this
The
into a
safety boats are
biathlon
going to be
instead of
kept
just a
very
surf
busy,
ski race.
Travis.
I hope they've managed to turn the one over, because that's a motor that's going to need a lot of repairs, unfortunately for them.
I'm not sure if they've
Another
collected
boat
all
on the
their
left
toys
that just
either.
got dumped, almost got all the way to the beach and then got hit by one wave. Shame.
But we're seeing and people we recognize as champions of the world right now. It's awesome to see.
So a chance to catch our breath tonight, lick the wounds.
Looking out to
For a
see.
lot of the big guns, today was a rest day, but I'm sure they'll all be down here lending moral support to their friends, and then home to recharge the batteries for the big one tomorrow, the pull up to Westbrook and those single ski world titles.
Yep. It's such a big race, and everyone will be watching their weather apps. You can see the flags on the beach already blowing. As we said earlier, the southwest has already come through. So the back markers are going to get a lot of wind in their faces, which makes a 28k paddle that much harder. But it's what the racers for tomorrow will be happy to see, because they'll know that the west is blowing. Tomorrow, that's the direction they'll be paddling. It's the opposite direction, and they'll want these ocean swells to have turned around and be heading the other direction. So standing on the beach, giving their support, they'll also be watching those flags blowing with the west and thinking, right, that's what we need. Keep coming. We want the wind and we want the ocean behind us tomorrow for a proper, exciting surf ski event tomorrow.
So lots of categories being filled right now. We're in a position where we really don't have tabs on exactly who is in which age group, particularly with the new split in the Masters age groups and the adding up of the ages to determine which age category they're actually in. So my suggestion to you, if you're looking for the exact results and times of any of your individual athletes, go and have a look at the official race website. There are links there to the official timekeepers, and they should have those posted as quickly as possible. And you'll be able to zoom back to your athletes, and by the time you get the result, you should be able to give them a phone call. And by that stage, I'm sure they'll have their feet up somewhere and enjoying some of the local hospitality.
Testing 1 2, check. We're down here. Testing 1 2 3. Down here with the winners. Check 2. Yeah, with first place.
It's a
So it's
big
going to be a
spread of
gold
boats
medal
there on
today.
the coming in at that 45-degree angle. They're going to angle themselves across.
Yep.
Sorry, Dave, I interrupted you there. My fault.
Not at all, not at all. We just bumped heads in the dark there, man. That's the Matt Bowman 45-degree charge, which I just think it's the gutsy line. It's a slightly longer line in, but it just works. And if you
Yes.
can get a head of steam coming into that back line, and you can just drop yourself in behind one of those big growlers and then just gun it all the way into that angle, you 9 times out of 10 are going to be good.
It's a lot safer than coming in straight because the ocean's pushing you to the side. Where you're keeping direction with the swells. It's pushing you in that direction. So any little bump is going to help you get away from the wave behind you. If you're trying to come in at 90 degrees straight into the finish, this is what happens because the waves are pushing you from the side. You're trying to keep your direction to get to the finish, and things can go wrong. So that 45-degree angle is definitely the safer option. And just looking at these swimmers, everything we thought about Toti is proving itself to be true, and the lifeguards running around fetching
full respect
boats
to our lifeguards for
bringing
getting
them
the
up
boats
onto
out.
sand.
I mean, the swim is one thing, but actually to land up with a boat damaged at this stage in the game is just frustrating. And if it's avoidable because of the work, the great job that these lifeguards are doing, then hats off to them.
Yeah, the guys are working hard, running up and down. Also, the one thing you really don't want is you riding a nice wave and you going in, and suddenly someone else's boat is floating around and you have to try and avoid it, or you end up falling out because someone else's boat is rolling around.
Travis, it's gold medal day for South Africa. Let's go down to the
do.
beach now and catch up with Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley.
Wonderful.
Okay, so here with the junior winners, guys. Take us through that race. It looked pretty tough.
Yeah, it was a really cool race. Despite when we got to the turn can right at the beginning, I went for my first sip of juice and my clipper came undone, so it was a long paddle, switching juice, asking Ellen for a juice from the back. Yeah, the first 25Ks were really fun, and then the headwind started and started getting a bit grueling. But yeah, it was a good race overall.
And what about that launch? Tell us about those conditions this morning.
The launch was really, really hard. Waves breaking everywhere, lots of boats. But yeah, he steered us through it and really had a great start. Yeah.
Amazing. And obviously winning, it's the juniors that you guys have won. What does it mean for you guys?
Yeah, it's a super special thing for me. I dedicated it to my coach Pete Cole, who passed away early this year, so it goes to him.
Fantastic, guys. Thanks so much and all the best. Okay.
Thank you.
And if there's one figure who's going to loom large over this year's event, it's going to be Pete Cole and the Orca Squad athletes, celebrating every little achievement in recognition of the part that Pete played, not only in their individual performances, but in the whole culture and in very many ways the lifestyle that he created for these paddlers.
Yeah, David, it is such an integral part of that fishhook type area, and the paddlers, and just the amazing number of paddlers that have come through that school of paddling. It's heartbreaking to think that he's not here watching his paddlers and achieving such incredible things. I know at the World Marathon Champs it was very emotional for his athletes who he trains on the marathon, and again now. Just an amazing individual, such larger than life, and a huge impact on surf ski paddling in South Africa.
Yeah, and I think for years, for decades to come, every time one of those Orca athletes brings home the bacon, it would just be living out an attitude that Pete had of get out there, train even when you don't feel like it. Just get out there, work hard, because it's what makes you a good athlete and what makes you a great human being. And I think the squad and Lex and the family are, I think, quite proud to see the way that legacy has been carried through.
And it's essential that it is carried through. You know, you've got to build on that incredible good work, that huge foundation that's been put in place. Has made such a difference to all the athletes around, and just elevated the competitiveness in the juniors. You know, in KZN, we fell off a bit, and thanks to what Pete was doing down there, we realized that effort had to be made to get the juniors up to that level. He set the bar high, and it really, really must be maintained.
So Travis, it's going to be a while until we account for every last athlete that's on the water. Bear in mind that, again, we're going to circle back to the safety and the surf life-saving ethos, and everybody is on full alert when the leaders come in. As the day wears on and the less experienced athletes start coming into the danger zone, where fatigue is more of an issue, where they're perhaps less familiar with surf, you just raise your game in terms of awareness and preparedness and being able to step in to help. So until the last one of those athletes is safely on the beach here in Toti, the team here is going to be on full alert.
Yes, and while the safety and the organizers, everyone's at full alert, those pictures you show are what makes the sport what it is. The war stories, as we call them. You saw all those paddlers together just talking about what line they took. I did this, what did you do, where did you go? That wave got us. There's that amazing camaraderie again of everyone sharing their stories, sharing their experience, and the smiles on the faces just tell the story. It is an incredible event, and everyone looks like they've had a fantastic time. These chaps with the yellow boat, maybe not so much right now, but believe me, that's just going to add to the story they tell later.
And the world watched it on TV. They'll never live this down.
Absolutely. They might try and edit this one out when they put it on their Instagram feed of their boat arriving so well, but just a little bit before them. Importantly there, you do see on that boat the leash. The back paddler would have had the leash on. It is important not to have the leash on coming through the surf. It sounds like maybe the wrong thing. I think, why did they let their boat go? They could have had the leash, but you want to take your leash off before you get into the surf break. The leash is there for when you're out at sea and you fall off and you don't want the boat to blow away. That's when you want it attached to your body. You don't want to be attached to your boat going through big surf. Your legs and limbs are not designed to resist the pull of the ocean dragging a boat away from you. So it is very important to take your leash off before you get to backline. And then if you do happen to fall off in the surf break, let your boat, you try and hang on to it if you can, but if you leave it alone and it washes in on its own, it's generally not going to get broken as long as it doesn't bang into anything, and then you look after yourself. So cleverly, that yellow boat had taken off their leash. They may have lost their boat for a bit, but that is the safest thing to be. You don't want to be attached to a boat while the big surf is pummeling the boat and yourself and wrapping you around. So good work on them for taking the leash off, but just to explain where the leash is important, that's out in the deep, not in the surf zone.
Right, let's go back down to the beach and catch up with more interviews.
All right, guys, down here with Matt and Saskia. Guys, can you take us through the race? How challenging were the conditions?
I would say they were fairly challenging. I mean, it's not every day we see DUC with a wave on it, so having a little reef break there, that was taking a couple guys out, that was quite something. So, I mean, they were fun once you got out past the can and made your way down this way, but it was super, super fun once you got going.
Amazing. And what about experience, Matt? How much did experience play in today's race?
I think that was like flipping a coin, really. I mean, we had a great jump start, worked well, managed to get through the surf she was talking about. I don't think we got touched. Like, it was really nice. And then by the time we were out at sea, I think experience kicked in. Like, that was all right. But getting to that buoy first was the first buoy. It was a flip of a coin. I think we just got really lucky. And then from there, we're in a good place to race for first. So, yeah, I made the most of it.
And overall feedback on the event so far, nice spectators and crowd coming out for you guys?
I think Paddle Sport South Africa and the ICF have done an incredible job punting this World Champs. I mean, to see so many internationals making the trip out, especially to the southernmost tip of Africa pretty much, it is truly something special to get to share our conditions with the rest of the world and show them what it really is like to paddle on a South African coastline.
Amazing. And last one, Matt, what does it mean for you guys to win this race in front of a home crowd as well?
Jeez, I had chills from the back, boy. I hadn't even come in through the surf, but it was just to see everyone on the beach and to come home as a South African to win the world title here. It was incredible. So I'm really, really chuffed.
Amazing, guys. Well done. Thanks, eh?
Cool.
Big hugs and quite right too for Matt Finn and Saskia Hockley. Third place for them last year, and they've bagged the big one in their own hometown, on their own home turf.
To win a gold medal in a world event that is as supported as this one is really something to cherish. They are, every top paddler in ocean paddling is here. Today, maybe not so many, a few are keeping their powder dry, but still an incredible achievement to win that mixed double event.
Be fascinating to see how they go tomorrow.
It will. They've, to calm all that enthusiasm down, all the work they've done, get everything calm, get themselves recharged. You never know, Dave, that may just be that confidence that they can take into tomorrow. You know, it is I did so well. Let me go and
It'll be a
do it again.
fantastic race.
Looks like we're getting a little bit of a recap here. Fantastic. This will be nice to see. Can't believe this was 2 hours ago when everyone was on the beach and ready to go. And off they went. It's going to be important. We were talking earlier about getting into your boat, getting in. Looks like the second batch is also...
Nobody saw that coming this morning.
Looks like the second batch is also in the background. And there they go. Different groups. Interesting to see how the ones went right, the other ones went left, and they came through. But from the start, Saskia and Matt seemed to just pull away and hold that lead the whole way. Huge effort from them. Very, very well paddled.
To the catching and milking, as we call
Composed
it,
and
every
efficient.
single bit of go. I'm trying to
Just
see.
relaxed and
my glasses in here to get in there.
Yeah, the deep water remount.
Yes.
Never easy in that sort of rolling surf.
That was the tricky one we saw. They did manage to get up and going, and hopefully they're coming to the finish soon.
So, not wonderful.
That's a beautiful picture of her riding a run. Well done to this too.
There's always a chance. So you're chasing group packed with open ocean racing, and so there we go. That's the can I was talking about. So they definitely.
Yep.
And then coming into the beach finish,
covering
with
it off
skyscrapers
the
with AMANZIMTOTI in the background.
Absolute most focused to get through that shore break and get through Toti and up to the finish line.
Saskia measured and composed, just relaxed, happy to take all the cues from Matt in front.
And as we were saying, how important that back paddler is, the positioning of the back paddler to make it as comfortable as possible for the front paddler. Almost as if you're not there, then the front paddler knows that you're doing everything right. They can just feel that the boat responds. If they want the boat to go left and they start pushing on the pedal, the back paddler is going to be leaning in the direction they need to make sure that turn as efficient as possible.
Oh, there we go.
So working together just makes such a difference. And all of these crews, all the way through, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, everyone that we saw, the two were working as one.
For the next one,
so
he's now chasing the one in front. It's a lovely angle. You can see that his nose was going to start. Here they go again. What lovely runs these guys are enjoying out there in the ocean today.
Walter and Judith look like they do this at will, at ease. They're completely comfortable in these conditions. It's a joy to watch. Look at the speed on that. Look at the speed on that wave.
Absolutely. It looked like they were going for a Sunday stroll.
Look at that speed.
I think I'm going to have to find Matt and get hold of some of his top speeds and report on them tomorrow for us, Dave, because that boat was flying.
The finish. We might be right at the finish here, Dave. We were thinking 2 and a bit Ks.
As the leaders came into the finisher and Toti.
This is the exciting point for any race, when you get around that turn can.
There we go, he's claiming it.
And they weren't far behind, Dave. They really were not far behind.
Yeah, you're right.
AMANZIMTOTI. Oh, we've got so much tricky. Okay, we've got the drone.
See what happens with a little mistake. There they go.
That's Hamish Lovemore and Jenna coming across the line.
Still looking forward to seeing
a safety point that's managed to get
fun.
upside down. That shows how bad.
And the drama with the rescue boat getting flipped. Good.
And there's the poor unfortunate rubber duck that happened to be upside down.
Holly Smith in the back from Cape Town, looking happy. Paddlers.
That's a lovely picture of them converging on the finish from all the different directions. The welcome relief. The boats just get dropped as they cross the line. The athletes are spent.
We're done for now. And for those that are entered for the pull up to Westbrook tomorrow,
the best you can do at that stage, just get to the beach and run on up.
You just hope that
their boat has been washed in. Barry Lewin coming in there. He was also having a bit of a swim, and he's extremely experienced.
Yeah, sure. Because it's always tricky. Westbrook's got a steeper beach. Totally looking at the beach there, it's quite flat. And that gives you a time to get out of your boat and get it out, get a grip of the handles and get yourself to the finish. With Westbrook Beach, traditionally it's quite a steep beach, and with a steep beach that can catch you out as you're trying to get hold of your boat and run up the sand.
Well done to those two.
So two totally different entries, the Westbrook and the Toti. So the athletes will certainly be challenged in their surf skills because they are unique in their way of how to line up with them, and we'll talk a lot about that tomorrow and coming around the rocks and things to avoid. This Toti beach fortunately is a wide sand beach, so there's no
the youngsters,
rock
they may
obstacles.
be the first juniors.
Right.
Well done to you. Fantastic effort.
So as the remaining athletes come into the finish here at AMANZIMTOTI, it brings down the curtain on, well, if it was meant to whet the appetite for the main event, which is going to be the S1, the single ski race, starting at DUC and finishing at Westbrook, then it certainly did that, because it was a treat of downwind racing over the 28 kilometers from DUC down to AMANZIMTOTI. The gold medal going to South Africa, that'll be popular for sure, but a mix of internationals with Spain and France making up the balance of the podium, and it has done the perfect job of setting the scene for tomorr's thriller.
Another paddlers coming
the
in.
World's best
someone running in from the left. They're going to have to run for the line.
Heading down to DUC for the 30Ks that are going to decide those ICF gold medals. Travis, thank you for your time and energy. I know you would far sooner have been out there doing it yourself. We appreciated your insight and your enthusiasm, and we look forward to seeing you down in the hot seat tomorrow morning for day 2 of the ICF Ocean Racing World Champs 2025.